him all this time? Was this part of Nuclear's plan? Look at all these strats marching on Integrator's face. Now the damage just start adding up. The Daggerfall just barely holding them off for now. That coming up finally connects to the Drone Force 1, taking that one down. Radel getting smacked by this blue gold, down to just 300 health. He jumps, that's going to be the game. What a comeback from Nuclear Good.
Definitely, and here we got Spithros on the wrong side, and Eke.
He's going to bridge swap.
He has to.
No, he's not. There's a black hole from Invitational to try and stop him taking the bridge. He manages to use the black hole to stop it. Leechman is happy for us to take that bottom bridge. It's contested though by this Yao Long. Spear throws. Eke on just 200 health. He's getting chugging
and that's going to be it.
Oh, personally. Look at you rocking that Divine Warrior.
Yeah, Divine Warrior is such an amazing card. Remember, boys and girls, it was Kriparian who said that card is broken first. He's like, this is the most insane.
Wrong. And now Zakripa's falling behind in terms of health. Rush second bringing the aggression back to him. That power is still very healthy as that Guardian. Oh. And then Kalima takes out the Guardian. Not what Zakripa wanted.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, look at the Incubus go!
Oh, it took everything!
Take a single hit from that! Killed everything!
But that's Mana Frenzy. Can he maintain the bridge? He just spams everything on that bridge.
Everything on that lane now, and I think he might have it. The burner is coming on out. Will the Swarmers take it back? No, he died! The Swarmer dies thanks to that sniper strat. He can't take the bridges back. There's too many strats and boxes. It's impossible to take these bridges!
Oh my god, it's not-
He's just trying to brute force his way! There's so much mutual. Look at all these dead strats! You have to walk through them to get over the bridge!
Oh, the burn bridge is coming down!
Oh, it's almost in control! It's flashing for half of a second! He almost can't even time this properly! Morgul pushes the Prowler back just so it can jump again!
Is it gonna be enough to Morgul?
He has it just a split second! He's got it! He needs to play card now! He didn't! He didn't have the mana! He keeps getting shots!
No!
He's not using it!
Yes, he got it! He's got it! That's the beat of Doom!
He's gonna save up the mana!
Ah, the GG comes down!
Finishes the game!
He's going down to 400!
Real low off of that push!
Oh! Yes, he's in beam range!
The Lost
He
Legion
might die!
You can straight up kill him!
Oh, 30 HP!
Just any beam of Broom, any Stormbringer poke, anything is gonna kill him now. He's gonna end this game quickly, but Mephisto cycling. Double Frenzy Prowler, could this be enough?
No, the Beam of Doom is gonna come up!
But there's two Prowlers now in Mephisto's face! The Frenzy, there's a sucker coming in!
Beam of Doom is gonna come down! Oh, Beam of Doom is there!
Terribly wins by milliseconds!
I can't believe it! What?
Mercy hell!
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to KPI. This is season 4. Yeah, it's been a couple seasons now. I'm Apples, casting the group stage today with the angry snail, Eke, over here.
Yeah, hello guys. I'm excited to cast for the first time. For our first match, there will be Mephisto facing JF.
Both players who've been around for quite a while now. Mephisto, of course, somebody to really watch out for. He has won 2 of the previous KPIs, the skins in the game and all. And
but
JF?
JF is also really experienced. Like, he shouldn't be underestimated.
Should be a really solid match to start the day off with. Both really experienced players. And let's see. Should be starting off with Mephisto's decks, I believe. And you see he has the staple. Oh, okay. We're having
Issues.
if you look at his decks here, once they pop up on the screen, you'll see he has a lot of these staple 1-mana cards. You know, he has 2 scrap packs or 3 scrap packs, the 3 illusionary cleavers. Do you see anything surprising?
Screaming Scrats.
Yeah,
Like,
screaming scrat.
yeah, I'm kind of surprised he still runs Combustion. It felt a little bit weaker after the nerf for 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's a little bit easier to deal with than it was when it was at its top there. Has a little bit more counterplay to it. Not as fast at dealing with the large units and the hordes.
Yeah, but I really like the idea to play it on a Mortar, since you can kind of force reses with it. So you can time it really well into a Tombstone.
Yeah, that's a really good point actually. It kind of gives you a little more control over your own reses so that you don't leave it up to your opponent entirely. And he does have some really good res targets with the Scrat Tank, the Cleaver, and of course the Shield Guard there, a really popular card.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised he runs like the Howling Moon twice. I'm not sure if the card itself is like that strong, but I remember having trouble dealing with it when I played Draft a lot, so yeah, I'm kind of excited to see how the card works.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to see it with the Ratbow too. That's something I haven't personally seen before.
Yeah, I think it like helps him to deal with the Mortar reses maybe, like in a Mortar matchup where you kind of want to, half health the enemy minions. So.
And then he,
Would be
of course,
an idea behind the card.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good use for it there. Another tool, you know, Mordar is really popular right now, so it makes sense to have it for the Mordar matchups. And of course, he has a Milloween deck. Really expecting to see a lot of Milloween today. A really, really consistent master. He doesn't have the Clear Skies that's really popular though. Actually, running a Healing Puff.
Yeah, but I think like the Clear Skies is kind of replaced by the Howling Moon, and yeah, he also has the Bridge Shrine, so he will always have the upper hand on the XP lead.
And switching over to JF's decks, he has a similar run of masters. The only change really is swapping out that Ratbow for an APEP, and it's actually a really solid looking APEP list. We have bans already. JF banned Mordar and Stormbringer, and Mephisto banned Mordar and Milloween.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that he banned the Stormbringer, since Stormbringer is not like the top tier master right now, but yeah. Okay.
And we'll be getting into game any moment now. What do you think they're going to open with? Do you have any predictions for what we'll see first here?
Hard to tell.
Well, we don't really have to predict. We're actually in game. Mephisto's opening with that Ratbow, and JF is opening with APEP. And it's going to be really interesting to see this one play out, because they're actually pretty different from what we saw last week in the qualifiers, actually, from JF. Just an early fight for bridge control on the bottom side. JF actually gets that future passed out pretty early, which is really good for him. You want to get that out as fast as possible so that you can cycle and get the mana value from it.
Yeah, but you pay with a lot of XP for it. Like, he loses the control over the bridges. So Mephisto will reach his first perk first.
And that first Rappo perk can start to build up a lot of value too. Every single scrat really kind of an annoyance and really good at making sure that you keep a little bit of control of the bridges.
Yeah, this one scratch shouldn't be underestimated. It like really helps at keeping the bridges and keeping that mana XP advantage up.
Yeah. A good screening scrat to help deter that scrat horde. And this is just pretty normal early game, you know, a lot of fighting for the bridges. Once bitten on the screening scrat.
Yeah, looks like JF got the like control out of his first perk.
And that early use of that future present and giving a little bit of bridge control over to Mephisto is starting to show, like you mentioned, he is up 12 XP right now, building a bit of an XP lead.
Yeah, but JF is like keeping up with the XP. Like, the lead is not increasing drastically. So I don't think like the second perk of Red Bull will be a game changer, since the Mordaka has no real target. Like, JF has a lot of small minions, so yeah, you won't get like a lot of value out of it. So it's kind of like time for JF to build up his own XP lead or advantage because of his future card.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't really give an advantage here. Not the best matchup for the Mordaka.
Yeah, but still Mephisto has like a solid XP lead. About 20 XP. Which is really nice.
The Magma Storm from JF there, a little bit of face damage, deals with fire too. Kind of just playing it out.
PM.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's always worth it. Like, playing a spell which is 1 mana more than the minion it kills and dealing face damage, it's not the worst trade.
Yeah, and good use of the totem here. He's not taking damage from this enraged Zhao.
Yeah, I also feel like the Magma Storm will help the longer the match goes, since Red Bull will play more minions because the mana regeneration is faster, so you will find more targets with it. So yeah, the card will get stronger the longer the match goes.
Yeah, and that'll be really good. Especially with the APEP deck and the way that APEP works with those perks. Once he gets his perk 3, between perk 3 and perk 1 with the free cards, and then the future card, he's really going to be able to start to build a nice advantage with the mana that he saves off of the free cards and the discounted.
Yeah, but Mephisto still sits at a solid HP and XP lead. So yeah, JF will have a lot of trouble to like get back and not let Mephisto reach Mana Frenzy first.
Yeah, it'll be really important for him to get a good card out of his perk 3.
Yeah, like
so that he can keep
an
up
XP
better.
Shrine could really help out, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I think an XP Shrine would be a really good get for JF. It would help him a lot. Especially with Rappo perk 3 being out there. Rappo's a really good master at keeping bridges and getting the XP lead. Every little scrat, even if it just takes it for a second or delays for a second, it can really help.
Yeah, and you need to get through those scrats. And yeah, he doesn't have a Blastmancer, which is usually really good to have into a Red Bull. So he has trouble clearing all those scrats.
And Mephisto, you can see a lot of these scrats coming out of him already, just kind of playing out, making sure he doesn't waste mana. And JF's about to hit his perk 3.
Yeah, but Mephisto is doing a really great job at keeping the bridges and just, yeah, racing close to mana frenzy.
Yeah. He hasn't really dropped the XP lead since he got it. He's kept up really well. JF is keeping it pretty steady, but...
Yeah, but Mephisto didn't even play like the Holy Moon. He didn't need to play it.
Yeah.
So
it might not be the best card in this matchup, and there's another Magma Storm coming out.
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter. He just keeps up the XP lead.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure what JF got from his perk 3, but so far it hasn't made a difference here, and I'm not sure that he'll be able to claw back in on this XP, because the constant swarm of Scrats and the just cheap, decent units from the deck that Mephisto is playing is going to make it really difficult for him.
Yeah, he got an Assassin, and the Assassin is like not tanking a lot of damage, and he can't go through all the Scrats, so that's kind of unlucky for him. And yeah, it's not the card you want out of your third perk.
Yeah, it's really not going to be the difference maker in this matchup, and you can see the HP lead's actually growing. Mephisto is starting to get a couple hits in here and there again, and JF is really in danger because Mephisto is only 15 or 16 XP away from that Mana Frenzy, and the Swarm's already really hard to get past. Once Mana Frenzy's there, there's almost no way.
Yeah, JF barely reaches the bridges, and it feels like he has no answer for the Swarm, so yeah, that's probably the reason why he's going to lose in the Mana Frenzy.
Yeah. Just the constant cycle of Scrats coming out.
Yeah, it's so disgusting to play against that.
Yeah, it does not feel good when you don't have the cards to answer. It's the worst place to be because you just try so hard and you can never get the bridges back.
Yeah, he has like no real answer to the spam. Like he cannot go for face damage. Like he has no cards that effectively build up like a big push or something, like a Dragon Ball or I don't know, like something to push with. So he just has to hold the bridges as good as he can, but he cannot answer like the spam. So
Yeah.
and now we got the Mana Frenzy.
Now that we're in Mana Frenzy, Mephisto's a little more willing to play that Howling Moon out because he doesn't have to worry about losing out on mana value as much.
Yeah, and
he has so much, it's just...
Yeah, those two werewolves really help like at pushing because they are tanky, and yeah, he got something to protect his little Scrats.
And this is just going to be a slow choke out from Mephisto. This pressure is going to start getting to JF really soon though. He has two werewolves about to hit face, Xiao's on his face as well.
But he can keep like himself a little longer alive with the shield totem. Like it absorbs a lot of damage.
In combination with the Magma Storm to try to deal with some of the swarm that's starting to reach his side of the field, he is slowly crawling back up in XP, but I think it's too little too late at this point. The pressure is just so high from Mephisto, especially with the Howling Moon.
It will be hard to win the match even if he reaches Mana Frenzy, if not impossible. But the shield totem is buying a lot of time.
Yeah, it's a really great card for delaying the match, and if he weren't against this really oppressive Rappo, he might have a better chance. But unfortunately, the Swarm is just too powerful, and he doesn't have that Blastmancer or a really good, effective answer. And once this totem is out, that's going to be it for JF. The game is going over to Mephisto, definitely.
Ah. What a slaughter.
And that's just the way it goes sometimes, especially with that APEP. He used to be pretty consistently picked in a lot, but ultimately he is an RNG champion, you know, or RNG master, and when it comes down to it, sometimes the perk 1 and perk 3 just aren't enough to help. And right there, that assassin was basically just a useless card because it couldn't put up with all the scratch that were coming through.
Masters! And we're off!
He does switch over to Stormbringer here. And I'm sure this is a Stormbringer list that you've seen yourself quite a few times, this classic Stormbringer.
Yeah, those ranged units can really help to like clear all the spreads. So hopefully he has a better chance to like beat the Red Bull spam.
And he has the Living Statue, which is really a solid card for just getting control of bridges for a little while. It might give him a better chance to keep up an XP. Plus he won't be going down early with the future pass because it's not in the list.
Keep up from the beginning.
Yeah, he doesn't have to play catch up. And there's the first Living Statue. He plays it in the pocket so that it'll slowly move across and he has time to build up mana to support it.
Yeah, but the problem with the Living Statue is that Mephisto also has the Howling Moon. So
yeah. And Howling Moon is going to be a really good card against that. The wolves do a lot of damage, and half healthing it from the spell is probably going to make it melt really quickly.
You have to keep that in mind. Like, once the Red Bull reaches the the second, he will just murder the statue with his scrats.
Yeah. Really good play of the Divine Warrior from Mephisto there to catch the aggro of the Stun Lancer so it doesn't make it to the werewolves that are kind of pushing through this bridge now. And the Sniper Scrap will kill one of them, but they get a good bit of damage on this Living Statue. And the one's still going.
Yeah, JF's cycle is really good. Like, he got the second Living Statue already out. And he's keeping the XP lead and also the HP lead.
Yeah, it's already looking a lot different than last match for him. This Howling Moon's coming out again. It's going to deal with this Living Statue really quickly, but Mephisto is taking a bit of damage here. And all the while, the XP lead is growing for JF.
Yeah, and that's the spot where you want to be in as a Stormbringer. Like, you always want to be at the edge and, like, yeah, keep hitting with those Stormbringer auto attacks.
And just chip away at the units. And this Sniper Scout in the pocket's gonna get a lot of value. It's gonna be really useful. And it's scarier even than it was because now it has the additional range from the Stormbringer perk too. It makes it a lot harder to deal with, especially when it's played really far back like that because it takes so long to make it to the bridge because of the range.
Yeah, it can be so annoying to deal with the sniper that's like sitting for 2 minutes at the enemy's base and just keeps sniping stuff and you cannot reach it.
Especially when you don't have the direct damage of something like Daggerfall.
Yeah, but we have to look at the HP of Mephisto. JF keeps pushing through with the Living Statues really effectively. Like, Mephisto can keep up with the XP, but he's taking a lot of damage.
He actually plays the Howling Moon here without a Living Statue out just to get something on the board and to help deal with this warrior and get a little pressure. He needs to catch up in XP if he wants a chance to stay in this really, or get a really hard push off because he is in danger right now.
But honestly, I don't think like a hard push will help him, since like when you push, you often end up in a spot where you, trade like a little bit of damage for a lot of mana advantage, which the opponent then can transfer into XP leads.
Yeah.
And this Living Statue is scary. It's walking straight at the base.
He does get the more Daka off there, which does help, and the Screaming Scrat to stop the first hit. It only gets one hit off, but every one of those hits matters so much right now because he is below 500 HP now.
Yeah, and the slight XP lead will also matter a lot. Like, when the Stormbringer reaches his third perk, he will constantly snipe all those units.
Yeah, it'll really start to build up here because as Rappo, most of his cards are really cheap, and the Stormbringer pings are just gonna whittle away at it and really help to manage the Scrat swarm that's coming through.
The Living Statue, though, didn't even reach the bridge. So Mephisto's slowly taking back control of the match. They are about even in XP right now.
And they both hit perk 3 at the same time. And here's another Howling Moon. Really good Screaming Scrat to block the Cleaver attack. And the Fireball comes out to deal with that Scrat. the sniper strat in the top side.
Yeah, now the Red Bull spam starts to kick in.
And we saw it last game, it can be really hard to get units through and actually pressure the Rappo with the amount of swarm that comes through.
Yeah, it's already hard after the first perk sometimes, and with the third perk things just get worse. Like, got almost no chance of dealing with the spreads.
Yeah, fortunately for JF, he does have some helpful cards here for it. You know, a lot of the sniper and the Stormbringer pings really help out. And actually this basic Grenadier card is really useful against the Scrats as well, especially when they're grouped around the statue.
Yeah, I like the Grenadier. Like, it really helps against the Red Bull.
It's also worth mentioning that Mephisto's down to 415 HP at this point, and this list from JF does have Fireball, so as long I don't think we'll see him just play it randomly, but once it gets to a certain point where he has a confident cycle that can keep him in the game, he can definitely use that extra face damage to try to close out. Because
Yeah,
Mephisto is very low.
Yeah, Mephisto doesn't play snipers that the way that JF can just throw a fireball at them and the face, which is pretty clever. And if Mephisto would play them closer to the Master Tower, he would like take a fireball and slowly end up dying.
Yeah, really smart placement from Mephisto. And JF has a massive push coming through. This cleaver is actually making it to face. It hits face, and that's game.
I didn't see that coming. I thought he would block it with the scrat.
Yeah, it's actually really rare to see the Rappo take a cleaver hit like that. It's so easy to avoid that normally.
Yeah, probably he had no mana to like block with the scrat.
Yeah, unfortunate for Mephisto there. He did a really good job of getting back into it after that rough start.
Yeah, they were like close to each other in terms of XP, but yeah, that one cleaver just finished it.
And that's the Rappo list gone, which leaves Mephisto with his Milloween.
Yeah, it's probably an interesting matchup. Like, in the early game, the Stormbringer is a little bit stronger and can kind of bully the Milloween, but after the third perk, I think Milloween has the edge, so yeah, will be interesting. I think the Stormbringer deck really needs to like take advantage of the weak early game of Milloween and keep pushing through with those statues.
Yeah, and like we mentioned earlier, Mephisto doesn't have that clear skies. He has this Howling Moon instead, and he runs a healing puff actually for the healing portion to help keep the game going, in addition to having the Blood Imps. So unfortunately against the Stormbringer, the healing puff is normally not a very strong card because the Stormbringer pings really just deal with it super easily by itself.
Yeah, you need something to tank for it, and
Oh.
I don't see like the Milloween being aggressive enough to like tank for the heal puff long enough to make it like worth it. I think that might be a problem of the match.
You know, Eke, I think we've made a mistake. That's on me. It's actually best of 2, so it's going to be a 1-1 score from that series.
All right. Never mind then.
Here we are getting excited for the next game, and we're not gonna have a next game.
That's so sad.
Oh man, got a little ahead of it here. We will be switching over to our next players, which are Zinyu and TGX Andy.
Well, I know Zinyu like from playing solo ladder, but I never like watched Andy, so I'm kind of interested to see him play.
Yeah, I actually Andy started around the same time I did with the Discord launch, and I watched him play a lot and ran into him a few times on ladder and played with him a bit. He's a pretty good player. He's really learned quickly. He's done very well. You know, he's had a bit of success in KPC. He's made top 8. And then Zinyu, of course, a player like you said, you've seen him on ladder. really a solid player, and I know he's been scrimming and he's practiced a bit. And it'll be really interesting to see this matchup because it's kind of a difference from last time where Mephisto and JF are both well-known players. Zinyu and Andy are both newer. You know, they're not as experienced. They haven't been to the past KPIs.
All right. Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see Zinyu play a Brothers of Light Milloween deck, since I used to play it on the solo ladder, and it's really fun. Like, you don't rely on your third perk as much. You just try to push and like snowball with healing fireballs and stuff.
Yeah, it's a really interesting list. It's a lot different than the normal Milloween.
Yeah, but it's fun to play. And it can catch your opponents off guard. And right now it's pretty good because opponents like try to run cheesy decks, so you often end up not reaching your third perk.
Yeah. It's very useful. And then from Andy, on the other hand, we actually have a Crossbow Guild Volko, which is really interesting to me, and he has a Diona list with Dragon Pack.
Yeah, those are interesting decks. He has a Black Hole for the Dragon Pack, but he has no, like, Weatherman, which is interesting.
And
since I assume, like, you want to try to, like, protect your Dragon Pack as well as possible.
Yeah. You definitely don't want to play out that 7-mana card and lose it to something. We actually have bans already as well. Zinyu bans Mordar and Ratbow, and Andy bans Setsu and Milloween.
Yeah, so we sadly won't get to see the Milloween deck.
Yeah, I was really, really interested in seeing that Milloween deck. But if Zinyu makes it through groups, we'll probably see it later, and that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, that's exciting.
We should be getting underway any moment now.
Alright.
What do you think they'll open up with? Do you think we'll see the Dragon Pack Diona come out?
Hard to tell. Might be the case.
And
I'm excited to see Diona since I haven't seen too much of her.
yeah.
But it's no Diona.
Unfortunately, we don't get the Diona. We actually get the Ratbow from Zinyu and the Volko from Andy. I'm actually really interested in the Volko list. I haven't seen Crossbow Guild Volko very much. He also has Sunburn.
I assume like the Crossbow Guild is just to like help to defend against aerial units, especially against like a Mortar, which has a Harbinger.
Yeah.
What was that?
That's
That's probably a misclick.
Yeah, we can only assume that he just clicked the wrong card there, hit the wrong hotkey. I think the Crossbow Guild will also be helpful as a Volko to make sure that you can control that marked bridge. He did play it out before a bridge was marked here, but
yeah,
in future
really
we'll probably see it on the marked bridge side.
Yeah, but it's probably hard to keep the bridges against the Red Bull, so I definitely think Red Bull is a good answer for Volko.
Yeah, it's probably a really good matchup for the Rappo, just because he can control the bridge, especially as the game goes on. It is an interesting list. I actually really like Zinyu's Rappo list here, and he has one of my favorite new cards actually. He has the Shadow Whelp, which I don't think it'll get very much value here against this Volko list. But
yeah, it has no priority targets. Like, you want to get it on something intimidating, like a Harbinger or something.
Yeah, and unfortunately not gonna happen in this matchup. Other things to pay attention to, Zinyu has the Wheel of Doom, and it's pretty good against the crossbow guild. But Andy does have both the Defenso Chopper and the Cleaver, which can block that. So the Cleaver is really expensive, and it probably won't happen because if he does play it out, he won't have the ability to just kind of react and play it. But if he waits to play on 11 mana, he can get that Defenso Chopper out to block wheels.
Yeah, that's what he's looking for. They are pretty even in terms of XP. And also, in terms of HP, Xenu didn't take too much damage. Which is pretty good for him, since you don't want to like take a lot of damage against the Borko.
Yeah, those afterburner ticks really start to build up the lower you get, and it starts to get really dangerous as the game goes on. Really good Mordaka from Xenu there, hitting that Cleaver.
Yeah, the Cleaver is pretty hard to play against the Red Bull, but can win games with it, right? So
we did just see it.
Yeah.
Andy does have control of both bridges right now, which is really good. It'll help him get a little XP back. He loses bot bridge to that scrap pack.
Yeah, but that small little push really helped him. Like, even if it's a little bit of damage, it will help in the later parts of the game when like every Borko tick like counts.
Really well done by Andy right there. He waited for the auto to actually hit to get the illusory Cleaver out, and then blocked with his own illusory. And
and now the Wheel of Doom did everything. That was nicely calculated.
That is a beautiful Wheel of Doom from Xenu right there. That is so much mana value, actually.
Yeah, he like calculated the damage right. Like, I really hate when I miscalculate and like the unit has like 10 or 20 HP left, and you throw your Wheel of Doom and it just barely doesn't kill the tank, and you end up like wasting your stuff. Oh, yeah. Nice Daka.
Really good Daka.
That might be game changer. Like, Andy just wasted like a lot of mana there.
Another good wheel from Xenu. Yeah, the mana is starting to swing in Xenu's favor, really. He's getting a lot of good value.
Yeah, and he's also fighting back in terms of HP.
In addition to that, he is a solid 25-30 XP ahead now. And with Rappa, once you get that perk 3, it's really hard to fall behind. And, you know, like, I don't think the Volko... The crossbow guild will help, but it's going to be really hard for him to actually keep up in XP and get the bridge control back, like we saw with the earlier Rappa games.
That someone got wide.
And that's gonna hurt.
How long, but
this Cleaver is still... Oh man, that's really painful for Andy right there. And you see this damage is still just coming out so quickly from Xenu.
Yeah, the Sunburn does.
A bit of a misplay on that Wheel of Doom there. It hits the Cleaver. I think he thought it would have enough time to hit the guild before the Cleaver moved.
Yeah, but I think it was fine value-wise because you got the Plasma Marines and the Cleaver, so I think it's fine damage-wise. Like, you spent 4 mana to almost kill a 6 mana minion. And the Shadow Whelp. The Shadow Whelp almost killed the crossbow guy, which is really good for Xenu.
Yeah. Shadow Whelp getting more value than expected, really.
Yeah, and Xenu just keeps the bridges. He's 50 XP ahead, so... The third perk of Andy is probably his last chance to like turn the match around, but I don't think the extra damage will like change a lot against all the squads.
Yeah, I don't think it can really swing it. The big targets for that extra damage are really the Cleaver and the Warrior. He also has the Whelp, and they're just not going to do it. And there's a wheel to face just for the damage there. Andy's down to under 200 health.
2 more wheels and the game is done.
Yeah, and at this point, Xenu knows that he has the pressure. He just hits Mana Frenzy now, and the Swarm's going to come out even more. And it's just gonna wrap up for him. Almost surely. The 50 XP lead, the Wheel of Doom for the face damage. Gets the dock on the Marine.
There's not much Andy can do. Oh, the wheel hit the defensive chopper.
And there it is. Zinyu takes the first game off of Andy, which means Andy's going to be off of that Volko list, and he is going to be on, was it Diona? Yeah, he's going to be on that Diona with the Dragon Pack, but I don't know how that's going to work against the Rappo. This Rappo list is...
I mean,
solid.
I can see it work with the Totem of Diona, which like blocks the damage for the Dragon Pack, so you kind of have some extra protection, but yeah, Dragon Pack is an interesting card.
Yeah.
Play card.
It's certainly not a staple in the competitive scene.
No, not really. It's kind of a cheesy card you can play to like catch your opponent off guard.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a little hard to catch people off guard because decks are known to both players before the game. And Zinyu will definitely be keeping an eye out for the Dragon Pack. Like, he knows it's there and he knows what he has to do to try to deal with it.
Yeah, but what I meant is that it goes beyond the point where you like just surprise him, but when the opponent is not prepared to deal with the Dragon Pack with his deck, so he has no answers in his deck, like a defensive chopper or something.
Yeah.
That's probably what he aimed for.
That's probably the best point towards it. And there's the first Dragon Pack, actually.
Yeah, it deals with the shield guard. And also the...
There's a really good taunt totem there.
Yeah, that Dragon Pack did a good job. Like,
It got
that
a
was good
lot of
for
value.
it.
I gotta admit, even though it's not a common competitive card, I do like the Dragon Pack. I think it's a really cool card, you know. Dragons. I've played a good bit of draft, and in draft, you know, you can really choose wins with it.
Yeah, but
So it's cool to
I
see
assume-
it played here, but
yeah, I assume the problem with it is that you can just place flightless dragons and they deal like the same damage per second for 3 mana less. So
yeah, the flying doesn't offer a massive advantage.
yeah, that's why Dragon Pack isn't played that often in comparison to like the flightless dragons.
And he plays off another one here. It's gonna be 2 dragons left from it at this point. And you can see he does have a bit of an XP lead. He's actually keeping ahead in XP pretty well. You know, Rappo, as he gets his perks, he gets perk 3. He'll be able to build up that XP and get back in there. But at the moment, the Dragon Pack's been pretty useful for Andy.
Yeah, I was about to say that it offers a lot of value, surprisingly.
And the Diona autos, fortunately in range there to hit this Field Bearer.
Go, Ruffles!
Andy is slightly ahead in terms of XP, so he manages to deal with all the Red Bull squads.
And he actually just got even more XP there because the Shield Bearer died on his side of the field and Ruffles got off there and got that XP potion. So that's
yeah,
a nice way to
Ruffles is
get...
something you really need to take an eye on, because he can turn matches around. With good RNG, he gets like the health back if you're being rushed, or
There's
he
the health.
just gives you like the XP if you are in need of XP or whatever. It can be really good.
And it can be really frustrating to deal with when you're on the other side of it and Ruffles actually gets really solid RNG off. Right there he gets mana, and especially...
2 mana is like huge.
Yeah, at this point in the game, 2 mana is all the difference. A solid Daka from Zinyu there deals a lot of damage to that shield guard.
Yeah, but it's still alive, so it won't stop the push for the bridges.
Yeah, and again, Zinyu's caught up a bit in XP, but...
Yeah, Andy still has the lead.
There's one! Go get it, boy!
And there's gonna be another set of mana from that Ruffles. Zinyu doesn't have a way to stop it.
Yeah, Ruffles might be the reason Andy wins this matchup. And there comes the Dragon Pack again.
And there's the taunt totem to try to get a little bit of an advantage out of that Dragon Pack, and it works really well there. They deal with the shield guard, and he still has 2 alive here. The Morgul's pushing in to tank the autos from... Oh, and there it goes to the Wheel of Doom. But the Dragon Packs made it to Xinyu's face, and they are hitting his face. He did take a lot of damage right there, and that's a really good push from Andy. Really smart use of the Taunt Totem.
Yeah, and the third perk really helps. Like, the 2 buildings supporting the Dragon Pack are so useful. It's amazing. I should probably try to play this deck in solos. I really like it.
Go, Rubbles!
And it's a 20 XP lead for Andy right now. Over 20 XP. But Xinyu did just get his perk 3, and that's going to help him start to get back in XP.
Yeah, now it's all about Andy handling the spam. And Xinyu holding against it.
Bring the trap.
And these Dragon Packs have really got a lot more value than I expected.
Yeah, it's surprisingly effective. But it's really paying off.
And the Ruffles doesn't actually make it to the mana this time, which is really good for Xinyu, but it might be a little bit too late, because Andy really has built up a good advantage here. His HP is really high, and he has a solid XP lead still.
Yeah. All those scraps really help at dealing with Ruffles, because they just come in and
Go,
yeah,
Rubbles!
even if Xinyu has no unit, he also already has those spreads to deal with Ruffles.
Is that the best you've got?
Keeping a steady 20 XP lead from Andy.
Yeah, it's probably all about the mana frenzy right
Go
now.
get it, boy!
Once Andy reaches it, he can just push through with his Dragon Pack and buildings, and yeah, it will be hard for Xinyu to defend.
Yeah, it's going to be really a lot to deal with. He's already had a hard time dealing with 1 Dragon Pack. The Mana Frenzy will make it a lot worse.
Yeah, and Ruffles has already healed Andy like almost back to full health, which is really huge for him.
There's one!
And this Dragon Pack's just whittling away at these units on Andy's face. The pressure is coming out of Xinyu here, but Andy is getting it back really well. These free buildings help a lot. Or cheap buildings.
Yeah, Andy handled that push really well. Like, I thought it would deal a lot more damage and give Xinyu a little bit of an XP advantage, but it got shut down really effectively. And Andy is 4 XP away from mana frenzy, so
Go get it, boy!
Yeah.
it will be really hard for Xinyu to keep up with him. But for Xinyu it's also only 9 XP, so...
Yeah, he actually managed to keep up really well in XP, and once he gets it, it'll help him, but it is going to be hard.
Yeah, the short time, like, the opponent has mana frenzy first is really annoying. Because he will get like a huge push going and you need to defend, and you cannot afford to grab the bridges really, but at the same point you need to grab the bridges because your opponent will just get free mana.
One. Go get it,
Yeah, it
boy!
makes it really hard to deal with.
Okay, now the mana frenzy is there, but it seems kind of
It's too late, I think. This
The
is going to be it.
The Dragon Pack
Dragon-
kills him!
The Dragon Pack made it to face again.
Dragon Pack is kind of the MVP of this match.
Yeah, actually a surprisingly strong card from Andy there. It made a real difference.
Yeah, and we got another 1-1.
And the next matchup that we're going to have is going to be Gamer, Video Gamer 77, and really well-known player versus Tomato Mato, who's been doing a lot of work recently in KPC. He's actually been putting up really good numbers and doing a lot of damage. Should be a fun match to watch.
I'm kind of excited to see Video Gamer play. Like, he's pretty experienced, and I kind of always liked the Dino.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a great.
Like what I like to call him.
All of the older players, you know, you guys have that knowledge of each other from those icons, those older icons that you can't use anymore.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad they are gone, but maybe we will get our icons back. Like,
Hashtag free the icons.
yeah, I think like I talked to the devs about it, and apparently if you like make one yourself and it's like not stolen from somewhere, like you own the copyrights of the picture or the image, then they might add it to the game if you convince them somehow. So I'm not sure if it works, but that's what they said.
I mean, if they said it, you know, and if it doesn't work, then just blame FDM.
All right.
And we have Gamer's decks here. He brought Ratbo, Volko, Setsu, and Ravager. And it's going to be the Volko and the Setsu ban from Tomato, which leaves Gamer's Ratbo and Ravager.
And Tomato will play the Morda and the Volko.
Yeah. And they're both really good decks. We've seen him play this Mordar a good bit. I think this is the first time I've seen him play this Volko. And we'll be getting underway in just a moment.
Yeah, I don't see a Dragon Pack, but the Empowered Soul Stealer and the Harbinger, which I kind of think are more popular than a Dragon Pack. And they kind of do a similar job at like being those aerial threat that's constantly attacking and being a nuisance to your ground melee units.
But who knows, we might see a revolution coming out of Andy with this Dragon Pack. You know, we might see some more of it in the future.
Make Dragon Pack great again.
Or, you know, we might just see the flightless dragons like we normally do. And this gamer's actually really known for his King Puff in the past, but I've said a couple times since I've come into the scene, I've seen him play this Rappo a lot, and I'm really excited to see this Rappo list today. And I think it'll be a fun matchup to watch. Especially he brings the Beam of Doom, which is actually one of my favorite spells, and he's really good at getting good value out of it.
Yeah, Gamer's really good at playing Rappo, but at the same time, Tomato is playing Morda, which is also really nice at dealing with those squads. So they do get the bridges, but they are getting cleared easily by the Morda attack.
And the later in the game it goes, it's going to be harder and harder because as the Swarm gets over to the field and Mordar is just wound up, it's just going to be very difficult for the smaller units to actually make a big impact.
Yeah, it's almost cleared instantly then. But still, the early squad pack does like 160 damage, which is like always happening when you play against the Morda. You just open and the Morda has like his big units and cannot really answer your Plasma Marines or Scrat Pack, Scrat Horde, and it just deals a lot of damage and Morda cannot really do anything against it.
Yeah. And there's the first Beam of Doom from the game, from Gamer on that Golem. It doesn't quite kill it. It gets it really low though, and it'll definitely go down without a problem now soon. He does have to be careful though. He's gonna wait for the shout across so that he can take it out first and not res the Golem. Really smart play from Gamer.
Yeah, but Tomato really keeps up with the XP, which is important. So Morda spikes really hard with his first and second Tombstone.
Yeah.
And you really want to get that second Tombstone because then you can snowball the matches quite hard.
Yeah, if you don't control those reses from the opponent's side, it's really difficult to keep up in value with the Mordar getting so much back out of those Tombstones.
Yeah, Mortar usually goes behind in XP in the early game, but Tomato just sacrifices HP to get more XP.
Which is a really smart play for the Mordar, actually, I think. Because if he falls too far behind and he doesn't get that easy access with the totems, it can be difficult. But he's kept up really well. He's actually going to get his second totem just now, or second tombstone, apologies, now. And he can really start to get a lot of value.
Yeah, but the Bannerman is just kicking the face, so...
And the
Tomato
snipers...
is dropping low.
Yeah, these snipers are really powerful. They've got a lot of value here, and the banner keeps them alive for 2 hits from the golem there, and it really builds up. You know, they start to do a lot of damage the more hits they get.
Oh, nice.
Really good banner, man.
But those rebels, they start to slowly build up an advantage for Tomato.
And that'll be a Scrat Tank res there.
Yeah, the second
Which is...
Scrat Tank.
Yeah, and that's a lot of mana to get back. The Daka really well played from Gamer to deal with it though, and this Tombstone is not going to get a res really quickly. If he can kill this Scrat Tank... Oh, he doesn't actually get the Scrat Tank down before the res can charge up, so it is another Scrat Tank res, but I don't think he feels that bad about that right now.
No, it's 5-3 mana, and it also is pretty good against those snipers.
And the Tombstone's going to be charged again, and it's going to be another Scrat Tank res. And the thing is, these Scrat Tanks are really helping Tomato, actually. They're putting a lot of pressure in the bot lane, and Gamer has to keep playing into them to deal with them.
Yeah, there's always one Scrat Tank on the field, and just constantly pushing.
And Gamer is building an XP lead, though.
Yeah. Oh, not quite in time.
Oh, that's a really feels bad man for Gamer there. He doesn't get the banner out in time to stop that fireball. And those sniper scrats have been a lot of what's helped him keep control of this bottom side here. And now you can see this Scrat Tank that rezzed is pushing down, and he doesn't have the answer out for it already like he has in the past.
Yeah, but those mortar reses slowly start to push through. And Video Gamer is almost the same HP as Tomato.
And the Daka hits the succubus. It's going to res off of the tombstone. And there's the Scrat Tank out front, and he actually got it just in time to stop this Xiao from doing any damage to anything important.
Yeah, and the Harbinger is out, which will slowly start to push through.
And this is the first time we've seen this really big pressure from Tomato here. The Harbinger is out and doing work.
Yeah, and with this third perk, with the Frenzy, will also really help it.
And the snipers have aggro to it now, so it will go down. Fortunately for Gamer, it goes down before the tombstone can charge. And it's going to be... Oh, it's actually a Dragon Whelp res from Tomato. That's not what you want in this. When you have the Golem out and you have the Scrat Tank out, that's not the res you're looking for.
Yeah, you really want to get, like, something big. That Fireball really helped.
Yeah, it did take out one of the sniper squads there. He still has 2 out, and he has the Bannerman in his hand. He's going to play it out quickly now, just so he has the shields on them. And you can see these snipers are really doing a lot of work for Gamer. They're helping so much in this matchup.
Yeah, they are probably the key to beating the mortar reses, because they can't just like sit in the back and always snipe, and Tomato can't really deal with them because his Fireball is not a reliable source to like deal with them.
Yeah, the Bannerman really stops it from just going free on the snipers. There's another pack out, actually. He has 4 out now. One of them does die on the bridge here, and the other one surely will too to the succubus. But again, it's the second sniper squad is already out there. It's already shielded, and he actually beams on top of the tombstone and the Harbinger, and he kills the Harb and kills it off the res. Really smart beam of doom there. It gets a lot of value out of it.
Yeah, and at this point, Video Gamer is going to reach Mana Frenzy first, which will like...
It'll certainly I think, win the game for Gamer once he hits this Mana Frenzy. Tomato has been having a really hard time actually pressuring him already, and again, it's once you get that Mana Frenzy against as Ratbo, you keep control of the bridges so well, and these snipers have already been such a thorn in Tomato's side, and there's just going to be so many of them.
And he can't deal with them, which is probably like the ending factor for this match. And in Mana Frenzy, Video Gamer can just beam the face, which is also pretty dangerous for Tomato.
Yeah.
Out of the way.
And that beam on face does a lot of damage. But he is smart here, he uses it to help clear out this Golem and Succubus before the Tombstone charges, just in time actually.
That was really close.
And there's another sniper squad out just as the first one starts to go down.
Oh,
and this
Tomato
fireball's just not going to do anything.
Yeah. That was probably a sign that he gave up.
Yeah, he knew that this matchup was over for him. And there's the beam on face, and there's the win for Gamer, taking the first game against Tomato.
Yeah, good match. We saw some misplays out of Video Gamer, but it was not enough to throw the match. That one banner man.
And Tomato does have his Volko list for the second match, which does have an empowered Soul Stealer. I think he might have difficulty getting a lot of value out of it again, though. The Sniper Squad is going to help a lot with that card.
Yeah, but if you get rid of the Sniper Squad, the Soul Stealer is free to go in. Like, kill everything.
Yeah, and as it builds up those stacks, it's going to do so much damage. It's going to hit so quickly, and it's going to really... All it takes is a couple of them getting to face, you know, just a couple times, and it can really just win the game for you.
Yeah, and in the early game, you don't necessarily need to play it in power. Just the 2 extra range can be enough to, like, get it beefed up against all those scrats from the scrat pack, for example.
Yeah. It's an important thing to note that, really, because a lot of players, newer players who are less experienced, are really worried about getting value out of it, getting the enraged, you know, having it activated.
Yeah, but the more experienced players, they will know when to play it and to get a lot of value out of it.
Yeah. And starting off, you know, it's the same early game in a lot of these games, just early control of bridges, trying to get that XP lead and start to build up something. And there's the first Sniper Squad coming out from Gamer, and honestly, it's played in that pocket, and it's going to take a while to move back.
Yeah, but at the same point, Tomato can just wait for it to like get close and deal with it. Nice shock rock.
Very good shock rock to help deal with that.
Yeah, effectively negated the banner man.
And Tomato actually has control of both bridges right now, which is really good for him, getting that early XP advantage.
But he has no answer for the... Oh, never mind. Now we see the Soul Stealer.
And that's an 8-stack Soul Stealer. And there's the Beam of Doom.
And
the Black Hole.
Wow.
Unfortunately, Black Hole did come out in time to save it for Tomato, which is good, but unfortunately it did take a lot of damage, and the Zhao's just going to be played to finish it right there and just clear it off.
Yeah, but it's still Half-Life the defensive chopper.
Yeah, it did get a lot of value against the chopper.
Yeah, but overall it's pretty even. They are pretty even in XP and HP, so I think the second perk will like switch the favors. I'm not sure in which favor though, because the Daka on the Soul Stealer can really help out, but also the burn on like some small minions.
Yeah, and this is the prop just hitting his face right here. He's taking a bit of damage. He did Black Hole the Beam of Doom again, but again, this Soul Stealer is really low, and there's going to be the Illy Cleaver just to finish it off right there.
Yeah.
And Gamer's gonna feel pretty good about that. You know, the Beam of Doom is 7 mana, so it trades even with the Soul Stealer, and then the Black Hole is 2, but the Cleaver's only 1. So, and it's really the small mana advantages. You know, like getting that 1 extra mana in a trade here and there that starts to help a lot.
Yeah, the problem for Tomato is he can try to predict the beam, but if he messes it up, Video Gamer will just not beam and he wastes his Black Hole and can beam afterwards or clear it otherwise. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the issue with him playing the Black Hole in this matchup.
And I think between Black Hole, Daka, and then as the game goes on, we're going to see these snipers be more and more useful. He doesn't have the best answers in his deck for them, actually. You know, he doesn't have the Fireball, which we saw last game didn't even make a big difference, actually, because Gamer had the Bannerman so ready. This is a 10-stack Soul Stealer here.
Yeah, but it's already really low, so it will deal some damage, but it's not the end of the world for Video Gamer.
Yeah, it's not going to be that bad.
He's just trying to keep the XP advantage up, so he doesn't bother to like not take damage from it.
Yeah, and he is going to hit perk 3 first at this rate. He's keeping a good XP lead, and
but
even
the Zhao
this
alone.
face damage, this enraged Zhao, and there's the Soul Stealer to deal with it. Beam of Doom comes out from Tomato to stop the beam from killing it. But again, it's going to be really low coming out of this. It's really hard to make value out of that Black Hole against Beam of Doom here.
Even though the Black Holes are always on point, it's not enough to like save the Soul Stealer perfectly.
Yeah.
That's the issue against the Beam of Doom, that you cannot really react to it.
Good burn the bridges there to deal with that sniper squad from Tomato. And Gamer has control of the bridges here, though. And
yeah, that's what you don't want as a vocal, because you always want to get those 60 extra damage.
And the sniper squad in the pocket is going to help deal with the Soul Stealer. Gamer doesn't look to be beaming it just yet. And he doesn't have to, is the thing here too, because these snipers are going to deal with it. Black Hole to break the aggro, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Yeah, the Daka actually kills it. Really, really good Daka from Gamer there, timing it well.
Yeah, this game will not end in mana frenzy like the other matches we used to see.
Yeah, and the Zhao got so much damage on his face there in addition to the props guys. And there's the Beam of Doom finish from Gamer, and he takes it 2-0, our first time not getting the 1-1.
Yeah. But it was a good match from Tomato's side. Like, he played those Black Holes very clean. His times were always on point, but it was just not enough. He couldn't handle the beam and later on the Daka on his empowered Soul Stealer.
Yeah, he didn't really have the ways to stop his Soul Stealer from dying. And in addition to that, he didn't have the best answers for those sniper scrats.
Yeah, he like needed to burn them, but then it's already too late because the sniper sniped like 2 minutes before.
Yeah, they get that value. And that's a really solid set from them, though. And that's, again, that's our first 2-0, which is really nice to see. You know, it's unfortunate for Tomato that he didn't manage to get a win in that, but he still has an opportunity to come out and win against his other opponents and make it through. And we'll be getting into our next game very soon. We're going to have Dirian and Kishin.
Yeah, that's exciting. When I hear the name Dirian, I'm like about to think that he's going to play a red golem deck, so
Yeah.
That's my first association with Dirian.
Yeah, when there's a Dirian, there's a red golem, almost certainly.
Yeah, that's just the way it works.
That being said, you know, he is probably the best red golem player in the game, if only from the experience of playing it more than anybody else. He is a very smart player with that red golem, and you know, even though the red golem is what he's most known for, he has shown in the past that he is very decent at other decks too. You know, he's really able to put up some good games. He has his Setsu, which I've seen him play a few times, and I think it's actually a really strong deck. He plays it very well.
Yeah, the Red Golem from Dirian is known to be very brutal. So, yeah, maybe it's going to get banned.
Yeah. It's one of those things where if you don't have the perfect answer for it, it's just... you're gonna have a really bad time. Outside of that Red Golem deck, he does have his Setsu here. He has a pretty standard Volko list as well. And he has a Mordar list, which is pretty good looking. You know, he didn't bring anything too crazy. He's not really being innovative. You know, there aren't any dragon packs in these lists, but really just solid standard list.
Yeah, no Harbinger and no Scratch Tank, which I'm kind of surprised. But I suppose it will work.
Mm-hmm. And then switching to Kishin's decks and looking at them, he has 2 of the Scrat Tank. And man, just look at those 1-drops. 4 Scrat Packs, 4 Screaming Scrats, and 4 Illy Cleavers.
Yeah, and then the Milloween bad just for more cycle and the Clear Skies.
Yeah, that is a really fast
the Clear
Milo.
Skies can mess up the Red Golem deck.
And it looks like Dirian knew that if he was going to get an opportunity to play that Red Golem, he actually bans out the Milloween, and he bans out the Mordar. And Kishin bans the Red Golem Ratbow.
Yeah,
and Mordar.
kind of expected.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where Dirian is the Red Golem player, right? Like, if you have the opportunity to get that out of there and not deal with it, it's probably the right thing to do.
Yeah, but I think you don't need to be a cover. And you can play against it. I did that in past tournaments and I beat him one time, but yeah, it's not that easy.
Yeah. So with the Red Golem out and the Mordar list out, we'll be seeing Dirian's Volko or Setsu for the first game. Which, again, I think he is a really solid Setsu player. I think he knows what he's doing with it pretty well.
Yeah, Setsu can really be annoying when she's just jumping face and trading or slowly trading your HP, and you cannot really do anything against it.
Yeah. And then on the other side, from Kishin, we still have, again, the Setsu and the King Puff. And I wouldn't be too surprised to see the King Puff coming out. King Puff has been a really consistent master recently.
Yeah, and it can answer the Setsu pretty well. Even in the later stages, when Setsu will try to jump face, he has the invincibility to keep himself safe, and he has a really good second perk Spike, which also helps him at getting a lead in the mid game, where you usually want to just jump face and deal damage.
Yeah, and that is the matchup we're going to see as we get into game. It is Dirian's Setsu and Kishin's King Puff. And just, again, you know, it's a really standard start. We see the quick bridge take from Dirian. Kishin waits to play out these spear throwers so that he can deal with them without taking too much damage, and then just retake the bridge. Lone Wolf from Dirian is going to be really good. It's going to deal with these on the bot side very quickly.
Yeah, Lone Wolf is really good at just pushing back when you have no minions on the field.
Yeah, and then against this Divine, it does take that damage early. And fortunately, the Flightless Dragons there are going to deal with it, but Dirian plays the Daggerfall to clean that up. But Kishin does have both bridges right now.
Yeah, both players play the Propeller out, which is interesting. Like, on King Puff, it's usual, but on the Setsu, it's a little bit weird. But I suppose with the like Tantrum Throwers and the Lone Wolf, it makes sense to play the Propeller Horde. Besides, it can also snowball matches if your opponent is not prepared to deal with the Propeller Horde.
Yeah. If you don't have the cards for it, it's one of those cards that's super punishing. Fortunately for Kishin, he does have the Illusionary Cleaver in his list, which is a really, really good card against it, and we'll see him most likely save that Elite Cleaver to deal with that Propeller Horde when it comes out.
Yeah. It's also the reason why you really like Propeller Horde on the King Puff, because it can get a free shield and then it's a lot harder to deal with.
Yeah, it's one of the most frustrating things to play against probably, is when that Prop Horde rolls shield several times in a row, because you're left trying so hard to find a good answer for it.
Yeah, but
Darian...
with the combustion changes and the slight nerf to it, it's a lot weaker.
Much more manageable.
Yeah.
And this Setsu jump to deal with these drone buzzers. However, Kishin does have control of both bridges right now, even as he's taking this damage to his face. He has to be careful though, he doesn't want to take too much, because Setsu is very capable of closing out games.
Yeah, she can turn the game around even if she's behind in HP, just because she can decide when to jump to the enemy's face. And here we see the Propeller Horde.
Yeah, there's the first shielded Prop Horde coming out.
And it's just annoying to deal with. But Darian has his own horde to deal with the enemy horde.
The best counter sometimes is the same card.
Yeah.
And there's shielded buzzers. That's another one of those things where King Puff Perk 2 can just be so annoying to deal with. Those shielded buzzers are really strong. He does use the Setsu jump to break the shield and kill one of them, and it leaves him open to daggering the other one.
Yeah, pretty smart play.
He also gets a bit of face damage from it, which is, again, it's really important for the Setsu to get that face damage when she can, so that she can close out the game.
And so far the second King Puff perk is not too effective at keeping the Setsu from dealing face damage. Yes, he has a slight XP lead, but that's like usual for a King Puff, just because the second perk is such a huge spike.
Yeah.
Which the Setsu with a reload is not like matching.
Yeah, the Setsu perk 2 not strongest thing. And these shielded buzzers are gonna make it to face and do a little bit of damage, but yeah, I don't know. It's one of those situations where the face damage isn't as important for Kishin. He doesn't have the same tools to close out the game as the Setsu. And here's a Setsu jump on face actually. He's just gonna get some chip damage out of it. But again,
yeah,
you know,
Kishin is about to get his invulnerability, so.
Yeah, and it's going to be something that Darian really has to watch out for and play around, because if you jump for face and then Kishin controls that bridge and doesn't take any damage, you can really leave yourself vulnerable.
Yeah, but the third perk from Setsu can really turn the match around just because of the reloads. If Darian plays it well, he can stun the minions from the King Puff and just walk through and kill him.
Yeah.
The trick is not to straight jump face with the Setsu, but to jump on the King Puff bridge. Or, let Setsu support your minions to get the King Puff bridge and then attack the face.
Yeah. Really good cycle from Darian there to get out another Xiaolong, which, fortunately for Kishin, he gets this Divine Warrior out to catch the aggro from them. And the Scrat Horde, this Propeller Horde, is just doing work right now for him.
Yeah, Darian has problems getting value out of his Propeller Horde, while Kishin has no problem whatsoever, because he has the shield and the rampage on it.
Yeah. It's where that King Puff perk 2 really comes in big.
Yeah, Darian is really behind in XP, and also HP, but maybe his third perk will help him to come back in this game before Kishin reaches mana friendly.
I definitely think that's what he has to hope for here, is that he can get enough value out of his perk 3 before Mana Frenzy. Fortunately for Kishin, he's doing a really good job of controlling the bridges and getting that XP. But here comes another
if he
Setsu
manages
jump.
to catch Kishin off guard somehow, he can win the match. But yeah, the reload doesn't get quite through. And Kishan will reach mana frenzy every sec. That's a big issue for Dirian. He needs to win now or the game is over for him.
Unfortunately, he has to deal with this push though too.
Yeah, King Puff can just keep the bridges in mana frenzy, so you have no threat to him. And keeping up with the empowered minions from King Puff is just impossible once he reaches mana frenzy.
Yeah, and there is mana frenzy for Kishan now, and we'll probably see him close out this game.
Yeah, one last jump from Dirian, but I think it's just a desperation call. Yeah, it's pretty vulnerable right now.
Yeah, and again, it's really the power of that King Puff perk 2 gave him a lot of value out of his prop wards and the drone buzzers.
Yeah, and now his minions are just coming in and Dirian has no way to defend or answer them. There comes the GG.
Yeah, that's gonna be it for Kishan taking that game over Dirian there. He got shields on those drones a lot, and it's really hard to deal with because the go-to is normally, you know, you can just throw out either the Setsu jump or daggers, but once they have shields, it takes a lot more to answer, and you end up losing out on mana a lot from it.
Yeah, kind of unlucky for Dirian because he could have traded them for the Daggerfall.
And we'll be getting into the next game, and Dirian will be on that Volko. Now, do you think he has a better chance with Volko against this King Puff?
It's hard to tell. Like, if he can deal with the drone buzzers and the propeller horde, he probably has a shot, but they are really intimidating for Volko.
Yeah. Yeah, the prop horde and drone buzzers were really deciding in that Setsu match with that perk too, and it's just going to be amplified here against Volko.
Oh, that's interesting shocker. I suppose he just cycled. Yeah, but overall, Dirian has a decent start right now. He dealt some face damage, and yes, about even in XP.
And the bridge swap comes out to stun that cleaver so that he can just deal with it without losing anything, really.
Yeah, that's brutal.
And this is a pretty solid push coming in this early. It's going to do a bit of damage to Dirian, but again, it's not really the face damage that Kishan's going to worry about. It's going to be that XP, and once he gets perk 2, we'll see the big advantage come out from that King Puff.
Yeah. Probably, I think the third perk is when the Volko is favored in the matchup, but he has to like not fall too far behind.
Which is definitely difficult when you're against that King Puff perk 2.
Yeah,
but
and you kind of need to contest 2 bridges. Like sometimes one bridge when the crown bridge and your hammer bridge are like synced, but if they are not, you have to like keep both bridges to have direct access to face damage, which is really hard to achieve.
Yeah. And this Scrat Tank Flame Imp combo on the top side is going to be really good for Kishan. It's going to deal with this warrior no problem, and it's one of those things where right now he can use that a lot to control this bridge. The Dragon Whelp comes out to deal with that Flame Imp, but
yeah,
it
it
is
also
going to take
captured
time.
the bridge.
Yeah.
Those are like the small tricks you use to like get the bridges with the Dragon Whelp, for example.
And there's the King Puff perk too, and we might see a bit of a tempo swing now that he has that.
Yeah, enraged propeller horde, but it's answered directly.
Yeah, they didn't roll shields, so it was a dagger fall really quickly from Dirian just to get them off there. And the first buzzers didn't roll shields either, but Dirian doesn't have that dagger fall to deal with them right now. And they'll probably have to wait for them to hit face and then play out units to deal with them.
Yeah,
but in the meantime,
he's into them.
Yeah, in the meantime, he does take a bit of damage from it though, you know, and it did give Kishan the bridges for a short time, and every bit counts. But Dirian does have the XP lead right now, and he is on his way to that perk 3.
Yeah, and he also has the HP lead, which is really good for him.
And Burn the Bridges was really good there to deal with the flightless dragons, but the Shock Rock comes out.
Once Kishan reaches like 300 HP, Durian can just spam. Maybe even more, like 400, I think.
Yeah, around that 400 point.
That's the critical point you don't want to reach as a King Puff, so Kishan really has to keep up in the XP to like stop Durian from dealing damage with his third perk.
Oh, man, that's gonna feel really bad for Durian there. He definitely doesn't want to see that. Not only were the buzzers shielded, but the prop board shielded this time around. He does have the Shock Rock Daggerfall.
But not perfectly. One scratch survives, but it's not the biggest issue for him.
Yeah, fortunately he was able to deal with the buzzers in a different way, but he is taking damage right now.
Yeah, that enraged threat take deals a lot of damage. And also the 15 damage per second from the flying propeller threat. That's really nasty.
And there's shielded buzzers again. He does have the Shock Rock Daggerfall, but it'll be interesting to see if he opts to use it here to deal with these buzzers or if he's trying to save it for the prop board. Oh, the prop board's not actually shielded this time. And Durian can get a lot of value here.
Yeah.
He didn't actually Shock Rock the buzzers beforehand, so he is going to take damage from them now.
Yeah, Kishan recovered and now Durian is kind of in the corner. He has only 500 HP left, but Kishan is already arguably low.
Yeah, at 800, it won't take much. If Durian can control the bridges and not take too much himself, if he doesn't die, he will just slowly tick away with that afterburner and deal a lot of damage to this King Puff. This time the shielded prop board comes out, and again, it's one of those things where it takes more to answer because of the shields.
Yeah, and he has to Daggerfall, but although he Daggerfalls, it still takes damage.
And all the while, Kishan had control of both bridges, so...
Yeah, but Kishan floated 1 mana. Maybe that's like the small difference that Durian needs to like win the game.
Yeah, at this point in the game, that 1 mana can make a big difference.
Yeah.
And the prop board's not shielded this time, which is really good for Durian. That's really big for him because he can just Daggerfall them and deal with them. And he has control of the bridge
and
that's marked.
The cleaver is really badly looking.
Oh, and that's so good for him that it's on the bridge.
I think
the
it's
Xiao's
over.
on face. That's
Durian
it. Durian's
wins.
gonna take the game. That cleaver was actually so important for him. He had it on the marked bridge, so when the bridge swap came out, it didn't lose control of the bridge. Kishan couldn't retake that invulnerability.
Yeah, he waited for the cleaver. He never played it. Like, he played it in the beginning and now. And it just won him the game.
That was fantastic. Really well played from Durian there.
Yeah, it was a close match. Kishan kind of looked as if he had the advantage because he recovered in terms of HP and XP, but in the end it was no match for the Volko third perk.
Yeah, that Volko really coming out there, and he did a lot of damage across the game with that afterburner. The Volko perk 1. We'll be moving into the next group. And I believe our first series here is going to be Grey Wolf versus Croaker X.
Also 2 veterans by now. I have actually played against Grey Wolf myself, but I never really played against Croaker in a tournament, so yeah, I'm excited to see him. I did watch a tournament where he played, but yeah, I don't really remember his specialties, like what he likes to play.
Yeah. He's done pretty well recently. I don't know if he has anything that he really favors.
Like the Red Golem from Durian or the Dragon Pack.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be playing the Dragon Pack. I could be wrong. He might have scrimmed with Andy and got a couple ideas, but I don't think we'll be seeing the Dragon Pack from him. And we're getting the deck list now, and Grey Wolf has 2 of those Guardian decks, and if you've played on ladder recently, you know those Guardian decks are really prominent in their they're a little frustrating to deal with because if you misplay, they really take control of the game fast and they can win out.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't have to misplay, but yeah, you cannot answer the Guardians with your deck, so although you play the match perfectly, you just cannot handle them.
Yeah. And looking at his list here, he also, one of those Guardian decks is actually an Empowered Soul Stealer deck as well, this Diona list, which looks really scary, to be honest. That's a deck that I would not want to play against personally, and we might see that one catch a ban. He did bring a Milloween, but he doesn't have the Clear Skies or the Bridge Shrine that's really common.
Yeah, Clear Skies would be a bad choice when he plays the Shielded Crossbow dudes, which is quite interesting that he brings in the card, because I wouldn't describe it as like a top tier card right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't. It's definitely an interesting card. It's actually a really interesting list. He also has the Legionnaires there, which isn't a card that we see a lot of. And we're getting the bans in, and Croker has banned the Diona and the Mordar from Grey Wolf. So we're not going to see those Guardian lists come out, or the Soul Stealer on the Diona.
Yeah, they're simply too strong. You don't want to face that. It's probably the Master I hate the most right now, just because he offers less counterplay to his tombstones while getting lots of value from them.
Yeah. And then Grey Wolf has banned Croker's Milloween and Mordar. Not too surprised to see that Mordar list banned, to be honest. It's pretty scary.
Yeah,
with
but
the
I'm
Harbinger.
kind of surprised that one Milloween deck got through.
Yeah, I feel like maybe Croker is not so worried about it because it's not the standard Milloween you see, you know, maybe he's not feeling too pressured by it. Thinks it's more manageable since it doesn't have the staple Bridge Shrine to keep ahead in XP or the Clear Skies because of those crossbow dudes.
Yeah, but it's still a Milloween. Like, you don't want to underestimate her. Once she reaches her third perk, she is still a monster. And she will absolutely destroy everything.
Yeah, Milloween at perk 3 is one of those things that it's just so hard to deal with. You know, the golems are so tanky and they deal so much.
It's better to win the game before she reaches her third perk.
And we'll be getting into the game right now, and Croker's going to be playing the Ravager against Grey Wolf's Milloween. Now, I actually think that the Ravager is a really good choice here from Croker. I think that's a great way to open if you expect the Milloween to come out, because it is such a good aggro deck, and he'll have a lot of opportunity to close out the game before Milloween gets to that perk 3, especially without the healing that you normally see.
Yeah, Croker has like 2 chances to, well, like 2 big pushes which will help him to beat the Milloween. If he messes them up, Grey Wolf will probably win in the late game, but before that, Croker definitely has the advantage, and I kind of expect him to win this matchup.
Yeah. And there's the first Brutus, and we'll see how well he can push with this.
He has a Shield Guard Dragon Fireball combo ready, but he needs the mana for it.
He also has the Combust in hand if he were to need to play it to protect this Brutus and deal with things.
Yeah, but he opts for the Fireball, which is a lot.
Really smart, probably, to get the dragon out.
And Grey Wolf takes a lot of damage.
Yeah, this is one of those situations. This push is really huge. It was a very well managed first push from Croker with that Brutus. And
Grey Wolf has no tools to stop it. That's like his biggest issue. Like, the Golem will not deal with the big push alone, and you kind of need some support for your golem, which you don't have at that point of the game.
Yeah. That early push. That was really well done from Croaker. The question really is, will it be enough? And honestly, the thing is, as long as he keeps up an XP and he gets another good push off with the Terra Brutus at perk 3, I think it'll probably be it. I mean, that was a lot of damage from him on the first push. And
I also think like the second perk from the Ravager is also a lot stronger than the Milloween second perk, just because it gives Croaker's units some extra damage.
Yeah. And Grey Wolf does have control of the bridges here though, which is really good for him because he wants to get that perk 3 as soon as possible.
Yeah, he really needs his third perk to answer the Terror Brutus. Because if he doesn't have his third perk, he will have a lot of trouble to...
Oh, the Beam of Doom actually doesn't deal with the cleaver there, it gets out in time. And he doesn't, the perk 2 from Ravager actually comes in really big there.
Yeah, 300 damage, that's huge.
That's exactly what you're looking for if you're Croaker in this matchup and you're trying to close out early.
Yeah, and Grey Wolf has no clear skies to like heal back or something, so yeah, he really needs to get cautious now.
Yeah. And this is just Croaker fighting for control with this bottom bridge, and the shield guard is frenzied. And
Croaker has no answer for the stun. The stun is just hammering at his face, but it probably won't matter at this point.
it's the little stint that could.
I mean, it dealt a lot of damage, so it was definitely a valuable stint.
Yeah. And Grey Wolf gets the scrap pack down in time to stop the cleaver from hitting the golem there, which is really important for him. The combust comes out, but due to the nerf, it just doesn't have time.
This is not looking too good for Croaker, just because the Milloween pressure is keeping to the stack.
Yeah,
and the Dragon Ball does nothing. Like,
yeah, Grey Wolf is really on top of these arcane missiles to clear out that Dragon Whelp from the ball.
And Croaker is slowly taking damage. He cannot really answer the pressure from the Milloween deck. And
especially now that perk 3 is there.
Yeah, the turtles just keep spawning and killing all the units, and Croaker is in trouble here.
Yeah, he's in a lot of danger. The missiles are really well played there to deal with that Xiao Long. And
yeah, Croaker really needs the combustion really help. And now we see the third perk coming out.
And the Beam of Doom deals with the cleaver very well this time, and that's really bad for Croaker, but he does have his perk 3 out, and this is going to be the opportunity here. If he can support this push well enough and finish off Grey Wolf, he'll have it. But Grey Wolf does have good tools to deal with it. And now that he has these turtles at level 5 on spawn from the perk 3, they're really put out a lot of damage. You know, it's going to be very difficult for him. He opts to Dragon Ball here, really good Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
And gets a bit of... And the shield guard makes face, the angry Zhao makes face, and the Brutus, and that's going to be it.
Quite stop it.
Just doesn't have the ability to stop this push, the massive units coming through for Croaker there.
Yeah, the Terror Brutus, it just kept healing up and didn't die.
Oh man, that was a really close game there. Grey Wolf did a really good job of getting back in control after that first push. But you see the Terror Brutus just comes out and it does so much for Croaker there.
Yeah, the third perk was the turning point for Croaker. Like before he was about to lose the game. Like,
yeah.
The Milloween third perk just kept pressuring him and he had a lot of trouble, but that was very well played.
Yeah, very well played on both sides there, and I just want to call out, Croaker did something a lot of newer players could learn from there too. You know, he had the Terror Brutus pushing the top side, and he opted to dump his mana in the bottom side with the shield guard and the cleaver. And a lot of new players.
Got a really good Dragon Ball.
Yeah, the Dragon Ball was really smart too. He used it in a good place. And it's one of those things where new players make a mistake with that sometimes, and they play everything in the lane with the Terra Brutus, and it becomes easier to deal with because you can just, answer the mana there. But the way that Croaker played it made it so that Grey Wolf had to answer the Terra Brutus and the bot side at the same time, and it made it really hard for him to actually keep it in.
Yeah, and he couldn't like deal with them both.
Yeah.
Like if it was played on one side, he maybe could have beamed all of them, or at least have gotten good value. But on 2 lanes, it was pretty much impossible to hold against it.
Yeah. And that means that we'll be going into the next game, and we'll see from Grey Wolf the Ravager deck of his own. Now, his Ravager deck is pretty unique. He has a Bridge Shrine in there, and he also has a Blastmancer. And what do you think about the Bridge Shrine Ravager? How do you think it'll fare against this deck from Croaker?
Well, actually, I used to play like Bridge Shrine Future Past and Future Present Ravager, and it's surprisingly good, just because like the second perk is not that bad on minions alone. So yeah, if you have those advantages and you keep pushing them with your first and your third perk, it's like a really good deck. It can work. I'm not sure about like the matchup, because if you invest like 4 mana as a Ravager into a Bridge Shrine against another Ravager, it's kind of risky. But it may secure you the third perk as the first player, which is really helpful. Like, but it's kind of the opposite for your first perk, because I feel like getting the first perk second as the Ravager is better, because you can answer the enemy Brutus with your Brutus and then keep pushing with your own, because you got the advantage on your side of the field.
Yeah.
So when I play Ravager against another Ravager, I usually opt to like get my first perk second.
Yeah, that's honestly, it's really smart. It does make a lot of sense to wait it out there, and we'll see if that's something that Grey Wolf opts for here as Croaker takes the early XP lead.
Yeah, might be the case. And Grey Wolf also has no difficulties like climbing back in the mana advantage when he plays his Bridge Shrine later on, so...
Yeah. And the shield guard's duking it out here. The cleaver comes out to clear it up though.
Yeah, but that's really scary looking. The cleaver and the shield guard.
Yeah, that's a lot of mana on the field there, and this shield guard's actually really good against this flightless dragon, but the Bannerman comes out to protect them from the Dragon Ball.
And he also plays the Blastmancer, but I don't feel like the Blastmancer is too good in this situation. It's not dealing a lot of damage, and it's not my favorite unit to play.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Croaker really had the advantage there. He had a cleaver with his Brutus instead of a Blastmancer, and you can see the difference in HP. It did a bit more damage to Grey Wolf there.
Yeah, and he also cleared them really well with that Combustion.
Yeah, showing that Combustion's still a good card. It's not as overpowering as when it was 1 second, now that it's 2, but it's still a good answer to some of these large units.
Yeah, and right now Grey Wolf is murdering Croaker. Like, he might have lost the first push, but not the game. Like,
yeah, Croaker opted to take that cleaver to the face there, and you can see the damage just was so high from the cleaver, and he also had the ball there to go with it. And Grey Wolf has the HP lead, he has the XP lead, he has not played the XP Shrine, and I'm not super surprised. You know, it's one of those things where he doesn't want to play it and lose mana on it.
Yeah.
Good Combustion from Croaker there to deal with that.
Yeah, Combustion is really helping him.
He does have to be careful not to let those cleaver pushes through like that again though, because 1 or 2 more is all it takes. especially now with the perk 2. The Frenzy makes the cleaver hit so quickly.
Yeah, frenzied cleavers are really scary.
The same can be said for Grey Wolf, though. He actually lets this cleaver through. Maybe he didn't have a card to answer it.
Maybe he's just like trying to keep the XP advantage going up. Yeah, he plays in the bridge run. He's trying to get the 3rd perk first, and it's probably pretty smart to do because the XP is in his favor, but the HP is almost the same, so he will definitely have a good chance to win the match when he gets his 3rd perk first.
And this Blast Dancer is actually going to get a lot of value here. This is much better than the earlier one, probably. You see it doing a good bit of damage to Croaker's face as well, and helping to just clear up those units.
And Croaker really needs to like finish the game now. Because if he lets Grey Wolf get his 3rd perk first, he's in a lot of trouble. Wow, the combustion also created the bridge run.
Yeah, the shield guard lived from Croaker though, or from Grey Wolf though, and Croaker is still taking damage from this Blast Mancer, and the shield guard's getting closer and closer. It's going
And Croaker has
to get a
trouble
charge
with the
off,
shield guard.
and that's
shield guard.
going to be it. The shield guard makes it to his face, and the Blast Mancer came in really big for Grey Wolf there too. It did a lot of damage. It's not super fast on it, but it was on his face for such a long time.
Yeah, I feel like Croaker needed something to happen, but he had no he had no advantage to push, and yeah, Grey Wolf didn't even need his 3rd perk.
Yeah, that's gonna bring that to 1-1.
Another 1-1.
Yeah, seeing these are really evenly matched players today. You know, a lot of the good players here are just evenly matched, and they know to pick the right deck to answer when they lose the first one.
Yeah.
And our next set's going to be Westland versus Hazard Bomber.
Interesting.
And both players that I've seen a bit on ladder. Westland's been around for a little while now. He's a pretty good player overall, and Hazard Bomber, you know, he's done pretty well in ladder recently as well.
Yeah, I remember his name, but I haven't quite played a lot against him. If I even have played against him, I'm not too sure.
Yeah. In just a minute while we get the deck list up. And we'll look at Westland's list first. I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited looking at Westland's list. I really like this.
Same. Like his Stormbringer, Redbow, and Apep share the first 3 cards, but like the 1 mana cards, but yeah, I really like the Arcane Bolt in his Stormbringer. It's an interesting choice.
Yeah, it's not something that you see a lot, and it's a really solid looking, kind of like a control-y Stormbringer list here. He has the crossbow guild, you know, which is kind of a staple, but that Arcane Bolt is going to be really interesting to see how that works out.
And also the Ghost Turret, don't forget about that. It's not like a meta card right now, but I really like it because it's so tanky, and with the extra range of the Stormbringer, it can be very useful.
Yeah, I think the Stormbringer range makes it a really decent card, actually. It also has enough HP to block Wheel of Dooms in matchups where that's important. His Rappa list has an XP sniper, a bounty sniper. I like that a lot too. That's another really interesting card to see that you don't see a lot.
Yeah, and we also see the Apep with the future present.
Yeah, that's a personal favorite. I love seeing future present. So it really doubles down on the RNG of Apep though, and it makes it even more important. You know, he has not just to get a good card from his perk 1 and perk 3, but now he needs to get a good card from the future card too, which it can really you know, it just takes a couple bad rolls and you can lose a matchup. But if he does get even something pretty decent, you know, or like a serviceable card, he can really win out just off of the XP advantage or the mana advantage from the cheap cards.
Yeah, the Mordor deck looks pretty standard. Like the Suit Stealer and the Harbinger are just like to snowball the match and keep sniping away like the small minions and slowly building up a big push.
Mm-hmm. And then if we switch over to Hazard Bomber's list, we'll see, again, he has a lot of standard decks as well. I don't think he has anything quite as interesting or unique. He has a very standard Clear Skies Bridge Shrine Millo. And he has the Ravager with the twins.
He has a Sunburn Murder, which is kind of interesting. I don't see too many Sunburns, but...
He also has the Chain Lightning in that Mordar, which is a really cool card, actually, that you don't see super often.
Yeah, I like playing spells on Mordor just because you don't mess up your tombstones as easily.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you cannot resist spell.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't res a spell. That's actually a really good way to look at it.
Unless you play like Stormy.
Oh man. And then he has, again, you know, just pretty standard decks overall. And we're getting the bans in. Hazard Bomber is banning the Mordar and the Rat Bow. And then Westland bans the Mordar and the Ravager.
Yeah, 2 Mordor bans. And Ravager is probably pretty scary.
Yeah.
It's really good into those more scaling characters like Midoween or Mordor.
Yeah.
Or even the Stormbringer.
Now, earlier you expressed that you were a little bit interested when you saw Milloween get through. How do you feel seeing Milloween get through again, this time with the Clear Skies and with the Bridge Shrine that make it such a consistent deck? Do you think that Wesson will have a hard time dealing with it?
He didn't ban it, so I suppose he better has an answer for it. But yeah, it's probably pretty scary for him.
Yeah.
Whenever I face such a deck, I'm pretty bored by it because it just drags on, and yeah, you just see you will lose the match, but you cannot finish it unless you exit. But that's not an option in a tournament, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's not going to work out like that.
Yeah, but you really need like some kind of answer. Either get the XP lead or just rush it.
Yeah.
Which is hard with the Clear Skies because it will just keep healing up and granting value and creating pressure if it's played well.
Yeah. Now, looking at Westland's deck, I don't know that he has the ability to rush down the Milloween.
Yeah. So you kind of need to control the beast and, yeah, just out-trade her.
Yeah.
Not let her get value out of the Clear Skies.
Yeah.
And keep up the pressure on her. I feel like if you can pressure Milloween well, it can win you the match just because you have a huge speed lead and Milloween is not that strong in the earlier parts of the game, but with the Bridge Shrine it's really hard.
Yeah. The Bridge Shrine really can win you the game. It's one of those cards where in matchups where they do have the rushdown, you can afford to play it without losing tempo because you spend 4 mana just for XP. But in matchups where you get to play it, as long as you can maintain a bridge and the shrine, you end up building such a fast XP lead. And again, it's that Milloween perk 3.
Yeah, it's super hard to reach though. Like, the Bridge Shrine, once it's deployed, you need an answer, like a Dragon Ball or a big push for it. And that's kind of the point where Willoween is good, because she can just defend on her field and get the advantage. Because whenever you trade on your side of the field, you are pretty much granted to like get a mana advantage over your opponent, because you can answer stuff a lot better than your opponent can in most cases.
Yeah. And we're just waiting for the players to be ready now. We'll be getting into this match in no time, I'm sure. And I feel really confident that we're going to see that Milloween come out quickly. It'd probably be the opener, in my opinion. What do you think Weston's going to play first to try to keep up with it?
Let the fight commence.
I don't know. I feel like Magma Stone would be a good answer for the Bridge Shrine. So
Maybe.
yeah, I
coming out quickly.
I kind of think it will be in the APIP, but yeah, then again, it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
But the Magma Stone is really good into the Milloween, especially if she doesn't play Black Hole.
Yeah, and we don't see that Black Hole.
Case. So the Arcane Golem is so slow, and it has such a big hitbox that will eat like 3 Magma Balls, like almost guaranteed, unless you are pretty unlucky. So even the like perk 3 Golems will take a lot of damage. So yeah, I think Magma Stone could be the card that answers the Milloween deck. And also Magma Storm deals pretty well with the Bridge Shrine.
Yeah. And especially if you're not careful, if he makes the mistake and he plays the Golem and the Magma Shrine in the same corner, or the Magma Shrine, the XP Shrine in the same corner, the Magma Storm can really just clear it out.
Grants a lot of value, and value is like the point where APIP is really shining, just because he gets those 3 cards, and even more with the Future Present, if it grants him a like decent card, which he can play.
And we're actually seeing, Hazard Bomber's already done 1,000 damage. He's done a lot of damage, and the XP difference is not there. He didn't open with the Milloween, he opened with the Setsu, so we're gonna see him try to close this game out probably pretty quickly, especially with the damage he's already put down. As Setsu into the APEP, you really want to close the game out while you can, before he can get too much value from those cards, and a really smart played Totem from APEP can stop the Setsu perk 3 from killing you. So it's looking really good for Hazard Bomber right now, though, with the 1,500 damage he's already done, and he's about to get perk 2, not the biggest turning point. It really will come down probably to what Westland gets from his perk 3. It'll be interesting to see what card he gets, and to see if he can keep it stabilized, and keep the game running well for him with the Totem.
Yeah, but I don't think like the 1,500 HP is too much for the APEP to handle. Like, you need to drop below 1k HP to like be endangered by the Setsu jumps. And the Setsu really needs something to like pressure the APEP to be dangerous to him. Like some kind of card that the APEP cannot handle at all.
Yeah.
And also the APEP perk 3 is really big. It grants so much value, and it's so good. It's probably one of the best perk 3s in the game.
Yeah. And you see Westland's already up to 34 XP right now, and he is on his way to that perk 3. And with how well he's doing in keeping an XP lead already, it'll surely get better for him as soon as he gets that perk 3. Once he gets that, it's going to be even easier to keep up and keep this XP lead. And Hazard Bomber is in a bit of danger right now. There's a lot of units on his side of the field. And he takes a bit of damage there, and the Magma Storm comes out from Westland. and it's mostly just gonna be face damage there. But yeah, I mean, at this point, you know, he has the perk 3 now, and he's been keeping such a good XP lead and using his cards really efficiently. He can afford to do that with a Magma Storm. You know, he's not going to lose out from throwing it there.
Yeah, Westner is still pretty healthy, so the Setsu has a hard time, like, jumping face. And now the constant pressure of the April units is like, yeah, dangerous for the Setsu.
Yeah.
The jump is not going to deal too much damage, so it's probably not that bad for Westman, because he gets through with his own units, and once the APAP like reaches the point where he has the XP and the HP lead, it's pretty much over for the Setsu.
Yeah. And honestly, it's not looking good for Hazard Bomber here. And there's another Magma Storm coming out. This time he actually does use it. He hits the minions, does some damage. He doesn't clear them up, but they are so injured at this point that, you know, they're going to go down really quickly anyway.
Yeah. Westland is slowly racing towards the point where he reaches Mana Frenzy, where his Hazard Bomber just reached his third perk, which is not the point where you want to be in as a Setsu.
Yeah, you
And he
really
is all
can't afford to be that far behind. Especially, and at this point, Westland's cycling so quickly, even without Mana Frenzy. The Flood is just coming out of him. He's throwing so many things out, and Hazard Bomber just can't keep up with it. Yeah, he can't keep up with this value.
Almost as if Westland has reached Mana Frenzy already.
Yeah. Westland showing a little bit of Mana Frenzy before he even hits it right there, and he just kept so many units coming out, and Hazard Bomber just couldn't respond.
Yeah, that's the issue with Setsu, that you cannot handle the value after the third perk. It's a pretty much doomed matchup.
Yeah. So, with that out of the way, we'll be going into the next game with the Milloween Hazard Bomber. Now, do you feel like he'll have a better run with this Milloween? I think the Bridge Shrine will help him.
Not. I think Westland will probably destroy him.
the
no
value,
no offense, but
no, I mean the value from the cards definitely, and the Magma Storm is really advantageous here.
Shock Rock on the Bridge Shrine. That's interesting, but probably makes sense since he got it for free, and yeah, it's effectively denying some XP. I'm not sure how much it is, but it's probably like 3 XP or something.
And for the price of free, I mean, you know, he'll just cycle back and have another one in no time.
Yeah, so it's probably like 6 XP or something that he's denying. Which is a third of the Bridge Shrine. Like, Bridge Shrine generates 15 XP. So it's probably not too bad.
He gets Disruptor Puffs from his perk 1, it looks like. That's not the best card, but it is a bridge grab for free, so...
Oh, Fireball on the Sniper spread. I'm not sure if he could have aimed for Westland's face, but... yeah, he probably doesn't really care about face damage when he plays both his guys.
Yeah.
And again, the Bridge Shrine.
And the Shock Rock to delay the XP from it.
Although Hazard Bomber plays in the Bridge Shrine, Westland is ahead in XP, which is really good. That's the spot where you want to be.
Yeah, it's one of those things. He's done a really good job of keeping control of the bridges, and as long as you have the bridges, you'll keep up an XP like ahead of the Bridge Shrine.
But the XP lead is not too big. It's already like Hazard Bomber caught up. And Westner only has like a small advantage just because of the bridge shrine. Like Westner is trying to always keep the bridges, but the bridge shrine will deny him his XP lead. Oh, arcane missiles on the sniper. That's really good.
Yeah, it's a really good use. And there's the Magma Storm to try to deal with this bridge shrine. And just keep it out, but he doesn't get it.
Completely. That's not what you want to see. That's like 5 mana wasted.
That's gonna feel really bad.
Yeah, if the Arcane Golem was out, he could have like tried to hit both of them, but yeah, it wasn't. And here's the second attempt. Oh, he also hit them with the Screaming Spread, and he killed his own Jiao.
Yeah. Now, he does have a lot of Disruptor Puffs out right now, which Hazard's Bomber's hand's looking really bad actually from it. It's one of those things where you don't normally think of it because it's not such a common card, but having it for free, I mean, delaying a card even... Yeah, delaying a card by 2 mana like that, or making you answer it, is really big actually. It can build up.
Yeah, if it's the right card, it can be huge. If it's the wrong card, it has no impact. So that's why players don't normally play it, but from an APEP perk, you take it. It's not an issue. Oh, and Westland gets 2 Divine Warriors. So that's pretty nasty.
Yeah, that's pretty gross. And you see Hazard Bomber is falling behind in XP. The Bridge Shrine hasn't been able to help him out here. And it's really just so much pressure from the APEP with these value minions.
Yeah, I think the Divine Warrior is especially good since it will block the Arcane Golems like really effectively. And Hazard Bomber is in a lot of trouble right now with all the Disruptor Puffs on the bridge, and he has no pressure at all. But maybe his third perk will change that. Oh! That was good use from the last man, huh?
Yeah. Man, this is such a bad spot for Hazard Bomber to be in here. He's so low, and he's so far behind in XP. Now he does have the Milloween perk 3 now, which can help him, but...
Oh, he played the totem just to protect himself from base damage?
Huh.
I think.
I feel like...
Maybe it was just Cycle because... Yeah, he doesn't...
Yeah, I feel like he's doing it for Cycle because he has such a fast cycle now.
Yeah. And the Bridge Shrine doesn't really keep Hazard Bomber up since he has no pressure on the bridges anymore. And he's slowly dying. I think Magma Storm might almost finish the game right now.
Yeah. And there's the Clear Skies to try to keep him alive for a little while longer.
But it's probably not enough to like win the game since the Mana Frenzy is dangerously close. And yeah, the Millowing is kind of trying to still get XP, but it's not enough.
Yeah, he just can't really get back into it, and there's another Magma Storm.
Watch out, everybody! Blues
Oh,
leaves him at 20 HP.
That's Shock Rock range. Oh, never mind.
The Clear Skies
Not
comes
any
out.
longer. But it's still 230 HP. That's like...
Especially with Mana Frenzy as APEP with that Magma Storm and the Shock Rock, he can just constantly just throw them out.
Yeah, but you kind of want to be cautious, not to like do that too often, because Milloween can cycle really quick with the Clear Skies as well, and if you always throw Shock Rock and Magma Storm, you end up wasting a lot of value, so you kind of want to outrate your opponent on the field, rather than just going for face damage, because if you get through, the Milloween cannot defend any longer, and those minions will deal a lot more damage than one Magma Storm at the face.
Yeah,
or a Shock Rock.
And this is exactly what you're talking about, is these minions hit his face and finish off Hazard Bomber.
Yeah, I feel like this matchup was really favored by the APEP, and I guess my prediction kind of came true.
Not only is he an angry snail, but he's really good on the prediction.
Well, I mean, I used to play a lot of Milloween, so I'm kind of an expert on that field. So
Yeah.
I kind of knew how a matchup like that looks like. I played once against Grey Wolf as Milloween, and yeah, he played the Magma Storm, and I think he also beat me, although I played a Black Hole, just because he could kill my Bridge Shrine.
Yeah.
Alright, it looks like we got a tiebreaker between Gandalf and Cut.
Okay. So
This is the tie between second and third, so it's about the player that will get onto the next round.
yeah. Actually, so actually, sorry everybody, there's a slight miscommunication there. Actually, we have Kat and Gandalf from Group A coming up next. And then after that matchup, we'll have that tiebreaker. It's actually Dirian and Kishin in the tiebreaker. So before we get into that, though, we are going to have Kat and Gandalf. And I feel like, Kat doesn't need much of an introduction. He's a player that everybody knows at this point.
Yeah,
and has
he
for a
won
long
multiple tournaments in a row, so
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's a very consistent player.
And he's always at the top of the ladder, so
Yeah, he's one of those players when you run into him, you're gonna have a long, hard game to win normally. At least in my experience, it's always
to win or to lose,
very difficult.
either way.
Yeah, it's never a quick one. So looking at Kat's decks, he has the King Puff, which is really it's just this really standard King Puff, and it's a list that we've seen him play a lot in the past, and he's had a lot of success with it. He also has the standard Harbinger Mordar,
and the Stormbringer, which is also looking really basic, almost the same as the Mortar deck, but except for the Plasma Marines, which kind of need the extra rage and the sniper pick.
Yeah. And then if we switch over and look at Engineer Gandalf the Pink, if we look at Gandalf's decks, we'll see he has that Harbinger Mordar as well. He has a Stormbringer with Harb as well, which is actually really interesting deck. I like that a lot. I like the extra range on the Harbinger, can really get you a lot of value out of it. It's already a card that moves slowly and the attacks are slow, so you can get a lot of value out of it normally, especially with that extra range though. Unfortunately, unlike the Mordar, it doesn't have the res, so if your opponent deals with it well, it leaves you kind of sad. You don't get the mana back from it with the res.
Yeah, but I think the problem with that, you need targets for it, like bigger tanks, and if you don't have them, it's not that useful.
Yeah.
I kind of think the Bounty Sniper on the King Puff is interesting. I have tried to play it, but it didn't seem too effective in my opinion.
Yeah. And we have bans coming in, and Gandalf has banned the Mordar and Stormbringer from that, which leaves that King Puff and this Ravager list that he has. And it's not, I don't think it's super surprising. However, it's definitely Cat with that King Puff is going to be really hard to deal with, I think. It's a very good deck at answering everything, really, between the Bridge Fly. Like, he has a lot of AoE with it, with the Blastmancer and the Fire. And then he also has the bridge swap with the Flightless, and he has the Divine Warrior. He has a lot of answers for everything, basically. It's really a Swiss Army knife, And then Kat has banned the Mordar and APEP.
Yeah, I know that Kat personally hates APEP really much. So not that much of a surprise for me.
Yeah.
I suppose he also banned it because he has to play Ravager, and yeah, APIP can be really annoying against those aggressive decks with his shield totem.
Yeah. We'll be getting underway in just a moment. What do you think we'll see first?
I'm not sure. We might see the Ravager from Cut just because it's pretty strong. I think I would personally play it just because it's ridiculously strong with the Shield Guard Dragon Ball combo.
Yeah.
But
And we have seen earlier how quickly you can close out a game and really just apply so much pressure with that Ravager.
yeah, but he might also opt to play the Kick Buff because he is more like used to play control matches, or like he prefers to play control matches, from what I have seen. But yeah, I am not like an expert of Cut's playstyle.
Yeah. It's it's what makes Cat. You know, he has that way he plays, and I don't know.
He's really good at it.
yeah, he's very good at it, and he's shown that it is a really good way to play the game. You know, he has consistently beaten so many players, and really shown that he is one of those top dogs in the scene. You know, and that he can really just win. And we see he's opening with the King Puff.
Yeah.
And Gandalf opens with his Stormbringer.
Both players playing the same arena, like the 100k gold arena.
It's a pretty arena. It's
I
not
don't like
the best, but
I prefer the what's it called? Fallen Empire? I'm not sure, but I like that one more.
yeah. Gandalf plays out the Crossbow Guild early.
Yeah, and here comes the Blast Lancer from Cut into play because it's really good at dealing with those crossbow deals. And it's also chipping down the crossbow guild and every other small minion, like the Plasma Marines or
Yeah, a lot of
other
these,
ranged minions.
a lot of these units that he has in the Stormbringer outside, like the smaller units. He did play the living statue there. It was a really smart living statue actually to get it out ahead of those Crossbow Guild unit. And
Yeah, so they cannot get blasted by the Blast Lancer.
yeah, they do go down to that burning ground though from him. And now the Blastmancer's out, but the Crossbow Guild's already really low, and there's the Divine Warrior to tank up that Blastmancer.
Yeah, and Cut is already ahead a tiny bit in terms of XP and HP. It's not much, but yeah, that's the way how Cut wins matches. Not like by doing big pushes and just winning, but he just slowly builds up his advantage and like capitalizes on it.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Screaming Scrap. And Gandalf didn't want to do that,
Yeah.
I assume.
Have to assume that was just not intended.
Yeah, misplay by him.
He gets out another guild. Cat does have the Blastmancer in hand again. He's going to play the Scrat Tank in the back and let it move across. And now he has his perk 2, which, again, you know, that King Puff perk 2, like we saw earlier, is really just such a momentum swinger. He gets the Blastmancer out. It will aggro to this living statue, though, and it will slow it down. It won't let it blow up this Crossbow Guild as easily.
Yeah, but now he can swap the statue away from the crossbow guild.
Yeah, really smart swap.
And the Blastmancer, if it will get off his blast, will still manage to deal damage to the crossbow dudes. Okay,
Yeah.
it wasn't enough to clear them, but yeah.
Yeah, he tried to catch the aggro of those Flightless Dragons with the Divine Warrior there, and he didn't quite manage it, so the Blastmancer went down a little bit faster than he was wanting.
Yeah, but it was still okay, I think.
Yeah,
The
and he
swap
still
itself
has.
was like helping him a lot there.
Yeah. Stormbringer has perk 2 now, which is really good for those crossbow men coming out of the guild, but again, Cat has really good answers for it. You know, the Blastmancer is a really good answer for it, and then...
Yeah, the second perk from Stormbringer is really good against King Puff just because it outranges Master, so... Yeah, that's kind of the advantage of the Stormbringer and the King Puff matchup, so you can kind of match the King Puff second perk with this extra range.
Yeah. This Blastmancer is getting a lot of value. He managed to protect it there through the statue and kill out the statue, and now it's just getting a lot of pops off, and it's going to really just deal with a lot. But it does go down to the Divine Warrior there.
Yeah, and the crossbow dudes slowly start to build up, but it's not a problem since he has another one ready. And he is already ahead, like he is about to reach his third perk while Gandalf is at 90 XP and already below 50% health. So Kat is in a pretty good spot right now. And Gandalf tries to like break the pattern by playing the Harbinger. Didn't play it before, I think. And
I think that's the first play.
yeah, I'm not quite sure if it will help him, but it's an attempt. Like, he has to do something. He has to try something, or he is going to lose the match. So...
Yeah, and unfortunately, the Harbinger is able to one-shot most of these lower HP minions, but with the King Puff perk too, a lot of them have shields coming out, and
yeah, and
it's
a lot
gonna
of
buy
them
Cat a
are
lot of
just
time.
too small. Like,
Yeah.
you don't get much value by one-shotting one of the spear throwers or...
And especially if you have to hit it twice to do it, it's just... It's getting Cat time to get a good answer for the Harbinger, you know? And he's not... I don't think he has to worry about it very much. He's still going to deal with this crossbow guild with the Blastmancer.
Yeah, the Scrat Tank is really good at just tanking up everything from the crossbow dudes and... Yeah, giving the Blastmancer an opportunity to blast away the crossbow dudes on the field.
And he has another Harbinger out now, but the bridge swap into the Flightless is a really common thing for King Puff there, and it's a really good answer to this living statue to just kind of just melt it. It goes down so quickly.
I don't really think the third perk from the King Puff is going to change the game a lot. I mean from the Stormbringer. Sorry. Just because Kat has such a big lead right now, and he can just afford to keep the bridges and keep pushing with the Scrat Tank, which will absorb the Stormbringer autos.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I don't think it's going to be enough to make a difference, and Kat's just continuing to build up that XP and get closer and closer.
Oh, and he gets a nice swap, but yeah, he sacrifices his Blastmancer for it.
He's 20 XP away from Mana Frenzy now, and he still just has such effective answers to what Gandalf's trying to do. Gandalf does have 2 Harbingers out now, but again, they don't seem to find a lot of value against this King Puff list.
Yeah, but once the Scrat Tank is open, they pretty much one-shot the Scrat Tank, which is, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And now the third one. That's probably the deciding point. Like, if Kat lets them get close to him and he just kills all 3 of them, he is probably going to win the match, just because he will have Mana Frenzy. If Gandalf can build up like a really good push and just push through Kat's defense, he might be able to win.
Yeah.
But that's pretty hard, and I think Kat is probably expecting that.
Yeah. And Cat is about to hit Mana Frenzy, so if he can just get control of one of the bridges, he can start to build so much mana quickly. And the Harbingers, all but one of them are dead now.
Yeah, and it's really hard to like get like 3 of them again, so I think Kat is in a really good spot here with the Mana Frenzy. He can just push through and finish the match.
Yeah. being said, if Gandalf can keep himself in this and he can keep this up, he is only 15 away from Mana Frenzy himself.
Yeah, that's...
And the Living Statue is really useful at getting control of the bridge, or at least stopping your opponent from having it. But all the while he's taking damage constantly from the Blast Master ticks, and this massive push from Cat in the top side is going to be really hard for him to deal with, probably.
Yeah, but still, the Fire Embed, the Harbinger, they effectively kill the Scrat Tank and they manage to hold off the Worms. But he's slowly
Gandalf is still
ticking
taking
down.
damage, and his HP is getting lower, and there's the blast, and that's it.
Ah, close one. I think like the match might have ended differently if he was able to get Mana Frenzy, but yeah, that was not the case. Kat is just too good at like pushing his advantages.
Yeah, and it's a lot of that experience that he has. You know, he knows how and when he has to do that. He doesn't really leave room.
It seems like Kat has lag, so he wants to reconnect.
Yeah, so we'll be a moment into the next one. And so with the Stormbringer out from Gandalf, that leaves Mordar, I believe. Or no, the Mordar and Apep were banned by Cat. So that leaves the King Puff.
Yeah, so it's a mirror matchup.
Now, they're running... Is it exactly? No, that's right. It has the Bounty Sniper. So, very similar lists. King Puff lists tend to look very similar. Do you think that it's favored one way or the other, or it'll just come down to who can play it better, like as a King Puff player?
It's so difficult. I think if Gandalf manages to get like an XP lead, especially with the Bounty Sniper, he has good chances of winning. But it's so hard. It's Cut, and he plays a control deck, and it's hard to tell. Like, I think either one of them has the chance to win. Like, if the Bounty Sniper pays off really well, it might be Gandalf. If not, then I think Cut will win. But yeah, I think both of them have good chances to win.
Yeah. Definitely not a super one-sided one off of the deck.
See. Looks like Cut is ready.
Should be just a second, and then we'll be getting into the game, which will be, again, it's Cat versus Engineer Gandalf, and it'll be a King Puff mirror match.
Pretty exciting. We probably won't see like the swap being played first, because whenever you play it first on minions, the second player has the advantage because he swaps back and has like a little more delay on the stun.
Yeah. So that's something that both players will probably know and pay attention to. And if you're just joining us, there was a slight change in the schedule, and again, after this, we won't be streaming the second set of Flaflorian vs. Laser. We'll actually be doing a tiebreaker between Dirian and Kishin. And we see both players play out a Scrat Tank.
Yeah, and Cut already grabbing the XP lead, but yeah, Gandalf hasn't even played his Bounty Sniper, so
Yeah, it'll really depend when he plays that. He has to find the right moment to play it to make sure that he can get value out of it.
yeah, maybe he gets like 2 snipes on the Spear Throwers. The recent sniper buff is probably really helping the Bounty Sniper just because he has like 1/2 second less, so that's a lot of XP he can generate.
And it's really even though he is slightly behind in XP right now, you can see it really helped him right there because he didn't have the bridges for a while and he still managed to keep pretty close because of that sniper getting so much value.
Yeah, the HP is looking pretty much the same, and Cut is still like having a small lead, and yeah, that's probably just what Cut does, like always having those small leads. Oh, and I think the Fire Imp was supposed to like attack the other Fire Imp, but the square tanks seem to be just a little bit more in range. So
now there's the reverse of that here, where Cat's Fire Imp deals with Gandalf's and then deals with that Divine Warrior. Cat wins out in that trade really well. Now the Bounty Sniper's out and it's helping him keep up an XP, but again, Cat has that slight... Sorry. There's the Blastmancer to clean up these buzzers, and the Bounty Sniper won't find more value yet. But you see it's helping him because he's been down on the bridges a lot and he has kept up an XP pretty well. He's only down by about 10.
Yeah, we will probably see a swap, just to like chip down the square tank with those Flightless Dragons. Oh, and the Bounty Sniper again. But I don't think the Bounty Sniper is quite paying off. Like, yes, it generates value, but it's not enough to like stay at the same XP level.
Yeah, and maybe if it wasn't a Bounty Sniper and it was a different unit, maybe he would be keeping the bridges and keeping up even better. Maybe it could be making a difference there, but
hard to tell.
Yeah, but at the moment, Cat's still keeping a solid XP lead. He's just been keeping control of the bridges really well. And a lot of it's the way he plays his units. He makes sure he always gets that extra bit of value out of them. He doesn't take the bad trades that make him lose out. You know, he keeps control of the bridges because he makes the smarter trades, and it's paying off a lot.
He plays the game really safe, and he doesn't just doesn't care about like going for the face damage or anything. He just cares about trading very efficiently and keeping up the XP lead. Oh, and it's a big push coming.
Yeah,
this is... That square tank survives. It's very scary.
And it does. It manages to survive, and Gandalf plays this Bounty Sniper in the top, but this is a lot coming in from Cat right now. And that Flame Imp's going to deal with those Flightless Dragons really quickly. They don't really get a lot of value, and
yeah,
Gandalf's
but that's 500,
damage.
700, even more, 1k damage with one push.
Yeah, now Gandalf is down to 367 HP, and at this point, he's not in a good spot at all. I mean, the advantage that Cat's built up absolutely going to make the difference now, because
he has not enough XP, and he also doesn't have enough HP, so...
Yeah, and he's not really able to keep control of the bridges against Cat as well, I think, and when he's down that low and Cat's up that high, even if Cat doesn't manage to keep both bridges, all he has to do is stall out the one bridge while the damage comes through. And I mean, Blastmancer at this point is going to be ticking away at Gandalf every time it's played.
Yeah, Blastmancer is probably going to finish in the match if Cat is not going to push through, which he doesn't even need to do.
Yeah. And there it goes, it's just ticking away.
Nice swap, but here we go. It's the second swap that's like giving the advantage.
Yeah, the quick counter swap comes out. And Gandalf's down to 250, and these minions might not make it through, but again, it's going to be those Blastmancers coming out that really probably close out the game.
Yeah, Gandalf is kind of getting back in terms of XP, I think. It's not that much than what it used to be, but still, he's not like in a good spot with this XP, and yeah, once Cut reaches mana frenzy first, the game is over. If he even reaches it.
And there's another 20 damage, and
That's a big push.
this time the buzzers are making it over, but the Screaming Scrap pulls the tank away and gets control of the bridge to give him that invulnerability, and he clears out the drone buzzers, and Gandalf is just fighting to stay alive at this point.
Yeah, and Cut is just playing the Blast Mance and slowly ticking him down.
20 damage at a time is all it takes sometimes.
Yeah, or 80 damage if you got a dagger for.
Yeah.
By Shock Rock or whatever, like.
Yeah. That little bit of face damage really starts to just matter so much, and Gandalf is just so low, and he can't manage to control the bridge, and at the end of the day, Cat's probably going to win with those Blastmancers.
Yeah.
And there's Mana Frenzy.
And Gandalf is 10 XP away from the Mana Frenzy, but even if he reaches Mana Frenzy, so hard to win against Cut. Though he makes a good push on the top side. But it's just being fed into the Blastmancer.
Yeah, and Cat's gonna swap it right there so that he can neutralize that bridge, that perk 3, and this Blastmancer is just 5 ticks away.
Gandalf hit Mana Frenzy as well, but it's
one
still...
of the Spear Throwers made it to his face and did a lot of damage though. Now it's just 3 ticks away from this Blastmancer, and he's dead actually. The Drone Buzzer is gonna clean it up, and the Spear Thrower on face.
Damn, Cut just showing an absolute control of the match. Like, he never did like super fancy plays or anything, but he just was in control of the match for the whole time. Like, from the early minute, first minute up until to the end. Like,
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
He really shows off the strong fundamentals there, and just makes the right plays. You know, he makes the efficient plays. He doesn't rely on any flashy plays or any really clutch saves or anything. He just plays very smart and well overall, like, so that he doesn't need to have a risky play. You know, he doesn't need to rely on something that's high risk, high reward when he makes these consistent trades.
Yeah, but it was also impressive that Gandalf managed to come back. Like, he was like 20, 25 XP below Cut, and he managed to climb back, but it was not enough. Like, he only managed to get like 10 XP close to Cut, and then the game was pretty much done.
And in a great attempt to make a liar out of me, we are switching schedule around a little bit again, and we are actually going to show game 2 of Group A, which is Florian versus Lazar, and then we'll be doing the tiebreaker, I believe. So, you know, it is a match that's happening. We are going to see it, and looking at Florian's decks just really quickly off the top, he has the Bridge Shrine Millow. He doesn't have the Clear Skies there, but, you know, Bridge Shrine Millow is really good anyway. It helps you get to that perk 3. A pretty standard Volko, but he does have a Magma Cannon in there, which is a really cool card. You know, it's a really fun card to see.
Yeah, I kind of see it on Volko pretty often, although I don't think it's like the best card right now, like to play on him. But it's definitely played on him. And yeah, his King Puff deck is interesting. I like the Soul Stealer in it. But it also has like the basic Propeller Horde and Flightless Dragons.
And then the Stormbringer is...
Yeah, I don't know about the Stormbringer. Because it has a powered Soul Stealer, and I wouldn't play it. Like,
yeah, I don't...
I would play a normal Soul Stealer. And I do play normal Soul Stealer. I have a pretty similar deck, which I used to play. But yeah, you don't want to play like the powered Soul Stealer, since after your second perk you pretty much gain the 2 extra range for free, and you don't need to play it empowered.
Yeah. And then switching over to Lazar's list, or Lazar's list, do you notice anything interesting here? I see an Azali in there.
Yeah, but I mean it's Setsu, and you can make like really aggressive plays with Azali, and when you play the infiltration, you can also protect it and the scratch rod, and yeah, it can be pretty nasty to deal with. Especially if you play well around the bridges. So you play Azali, you don't have a bridge, then you get the first bridge, and then you can get the second bridge again to get like a second shield, if like a fireball or I don't know, like a big AoE hit, like a Screaming Scrat, just to recharge those shields.
Yeah.
I kind of think the Bara is interesting on the Mortar. Like, I don't see, or haven't seen the Bara yet, but I definitely think she's a really strong card. And yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that a lot. I actually think that Bara's, even though not seen very often, I think that it's a really good card, and it's one of those cards that since it was first introduced to the game, I've always thought it's been really good, and it hasn't seen a lot of play. But in the Mordar, it's really nice, you know, you get a lot of value out of it because of the root, and it has a good place there. It's a nice expensive res that's pretty good value.
Yeah, I'm not sure if like the reses with the roots are like really nice to have. Like, I'm not sure if the root will be like what you want to get when you res Bara, but I guess resing her is like really good, especially if you get your third perk, because those faster beams, they are so deadly. Like,
And we have our bans, and Lazar's banned Volko and Milloween, and Faflorian has banned Apep and Mordar.
yeah, Ape probably because if you play something like a Volko, you don't want to face that Ape shield.
Yeah.
But looks like he doesn't get to play it. But sometimes you just got to like ban and think about like what you want to play against and which matchups you want to have and yeah, don't want to have. So that's probably the idea behind it.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense too. We'll be getting underway in a moment. So while we're waiting to load in, any predictions on what they're going to open with? I wouldn't be. I'm not too set on any of them. I don't know. I think it's important to open with something where if they counter it, the second game you can counter that, you know, and they're definitely both smart enough players that I think they'll take that into account. So it's not just about winning the first game.
Yes, but it's hard to tell. Like it's kind of a mind game. Oh, but looks like I doesn't need to answer that question. Since we jump into the match and we see the Stormbringer King Buff matchup. And Flo is taking over the bridges.
And it's gonna be one of those situations again where
both players are waiting here.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to make like the mistake at the opener, but in the end they just push against each other with the Scrat tanks. Oh! The Scrat tank barely survives the sniper shot. But Lesur takes over the bridges. And we're about to see the Empowered Suit Stealer. Maybe he plays the Empowered Suit Stealer because he wants the King Puff matchup. Since when you got the extra range in the early game, you don't need to like wait for the second perk of the King Puff and can destroy him before that perk hits, because now the King Puff is out of range for the Soul Stealer, and he can get like really good value.
Yeah.
Especially with that Black Hole. It doesn't really matter that the scratching is there. Oh, never mind. It survived with 1 HP. I didn't assume that. I thought the Soul Stealer had more damage.
And he plays out the Divine Warrior here to protect these sniper scrats. But this Greening Scrat does make it to blow up one and take the shield out on the other, but...
Yeah,
Even
Blast
Blast
Mats
Man.
is just going through the crossbow dudes.
There's
Oh, and he doesn't
bridge
get to
swap
play his
protect.
imports. Yeah. Because the Lone Wolf died. Oh, you don't want that. Like, he played the Illusory Cleaver just to block the Flightless Dragons, but the Guardian protected it, so the Guardian just took a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's a bit of a misstep there. That's gonna really help out the King Puff, and these snipers are enraged, so they're gonna be doing a lot of damage.
Yeah,
They are
but
on Flow's
Scrat
side now,
Pick-
so they're easier to deal with though.
Yeah, Scrat Pick is really good just to deal with them. And Stormbringer itself has no like difficulties dealing against snipers when the snipers are no longer protected. Just because he like always attacks, and 2 attacks are enough to kill with 1 sniper.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't get to play his Stealer Empowered again, but he already has a second perk, so it does not matter that much.
And it will go down to the Spear Throwers though, and Flow's taking damage to his face right now from this push from Laser in the bottom lane.
Yeah, the Empowered Soul Stealer is really not paying off. It's like 7 mana, and that's way too expensive. Especially to match like the King Puff perk 2 power.
Yeah. And Flow's already down to 560 HP. He's taking so much damage. And on top of that, he's also down a lot in XP. Laser's up a good 15 XP, and he's going to hit that perk 3. It won't matter very much, but
And
it's
he's
another step.
starting to float mana. He doesn't really know what to do, like how to still win the match, and that swap just, yeah, it absolutely destroyed his chance of doing anything with the Soul Stealer.
Yeah, and the Soul Stealer ended up just going down to the Spear Throwers again.
Yeah, Luzua is like really good answer.
Yeah, and that's certainly going to be game. I don't think Flow's just going to let it finish him off. He knows he can't win this one at this point.
Yeah, he had like a good chance in the early game, but the Scrap Tank barely survived, and yeah, then he pretty much had no chance to like play aggressive anymore, especially with the King Puff second perk.
Yeah. And that means that we will see the next matchup, which should be, I believe it was King Puff. Yes, it's Laser's other deck that he has available still is King Puff. So another
it's,
King Puff mirror.
yeah, but probably also interesting, but I don't think we got bounty snipers.
Yeah. I do think that Laser is definitely in the advantage here in this mirror matchup, in my opinion anyway. He has a faster cycle a bit, and then also the Sniper Squad's a really good answer to the Soul Stealer if he can get it in a good point. And he has the Blastmancer to deal with the Propeller Horde. Like I feel like he has better answers for what Flow's trying to do. But it definitely could go either way.
We are about to find out. Those Flightless Dragons are always a really good answer for Scrat Tank, because they cost like 1 mana less and they have a lot more damage, and the Scrat Tank just needs so much time to kill them that the Flightless Dragons will kill him before he, survives.
And the Soul Stealer does make the face, but the Sniper Squad will take it out really quickly. And
Yeah, and Flo really has problems because he cannot play his Propeller Hot, and it's pretty much a dead card for him right now.
Yeah, and the counter bridge swap comes out from Laser there. Protect this sniper squad. They do go down to these spear throwers though, but they managed to get a lot more shots off than they would have if they just died to the flame at the top.
Oh, but Lazur like kind of messed up his spear throwers. If he played them closer to the fire end, he might have killed it without it taking out the spear throwers.
Yeah, and in a mirror matchup like this, it could be that small thing right there, you know, that little advantage just from the slight misplay. And the Scrat tanks match, but Flo has the flight list to deal with Lazar's.
And now he plays the suit stealer for the first time.
Second, I believe.
Second, yes.
Yeah, tied to the sniper squad. Yeah. This time it'll be a little bit slower to get answered because the Scrat tank's up front.
Advantage right here.
A really good banner coming out there to protect the snipers from the drone buzzers, and they end up
and the
them
screaming
up.
Scrat also.
Yeah.
But it's not enough. The Propeller Horde is killing them.
He did manage to get a lot of value out of the sniper squad though, and now he has both bridges, but he's down 20 XP.
Yeah, he has no second perk. He's about to get it right now, but that's still a huge XP lead from Florian.
Yeah. And the Scrat tank does not take that first hit from the assassin because it was stealth, which is really good for Lazar. And now he has the Scrat tank pushing with the flame imp.
Yeah, and he has no swap ready to like swap the fire imp away from the Scrat tank or something. But he manages to abuse his suit stealer to kill the fire imp.
And this enraged sniper squad's doing so much damage.
But it won't quite one-shot the suit stealer.
Yeah,
Or
the shield
the
keeps it
Propeller
alive.
Horde. The Propeller Horde is again really nasty. But
And there's the Blastmancer to answer it, and the snipers are going to get more value in the bot side. Oh, there's the swap to stop it, and the assassin's going to deal with this Blastmancer.
yeah, just so the drone buzzers survive.
And that swap's not going to do much for Lazar there.
Yeah, but the assassin is really not like paying off. Like always running into the Scrat tank and not healing the initial burst.
Yeah.
It looks like Lazur's cycle just quite doesn't give him the Blastmancer when the Propeller Horde is out.
Yeah, he does manage to get it out here. I was going to say he hasn't really set up his cycle to match so that he has it, even though he does have a faster cycle, but he does get it out in time there before he really gets punished for it.
Yeah, but it's looking really good for Florian because he has like a 40 XP lead, and yeah, he can now abuse his invulnerability, so he can kind of trade XP just for like the push that just pushes through, but he doesn't need to defend against it because he has the bridge.
That Scrat tank actually pushed that sniper Scrat all the way to the tower.
Didn't see that.
Poor little sniper Scrat. And it really feels like early on a bit of a misstep from Lazar. You know, he really ended up falling behind in XP, and when Flo got perk 2 so far ahead of him, it made it really hard to get back.
Yeah, the perk 2 really snowballed.
Yeah.
Oh, nice swap. So his... Oh, okay. There's the counter swap. Never mind. It had been nice if he saved his Soul Stealer, but... Yeah, and Lazur is kind of starting to annoy Florian. But Florian is still sitting at a decent lead. Not the 40 XP, which it used to be, but 30 is still enough to reach Mana Frenzy first.
Yeah, and getting that Mana Frenzy so far ahead by 30 XP is so much time with all that additional mana.
Yeah, but I think like if Lazur manages to like snowball with his sniper crits, or yeah, he can manage to like match Florian's mana frenzy. If he manages to get like 2 packs at his master tower, they can snipe for like ages and like keep him in the game.
Yeah. And he has the Blastmancer, which is really useful as you get later in too, especially dealing with prop hordes like that. He's definitely not out of this.
No, but it's really hard for him to keep up with the XP, and he probably needs to match the mana frenzy, and he's slowly falling behind again.
He gets hit in the face by that assassin and takes a bunch of damage from it.
But this match is not really about damage right now, it's more about the XP difference. Because neither of them can hope to like get a really big surprise push. I mean, they can hope, but it's not very likely to happen. It's more likely that he is like going to reach mana frenzy and then like spam his stuff.
And there is the mana frenzy from Florian. He's 1 XP away. There it is. And now we'll start to see the pressure come out from that. And
yeah, but we see the sniper squad. Sniper squad is really good because when all the units are coming in, it will automatically just sit in the back and not move at all, so it won't really get attacked.
Yeah, but he has a lot on his face and he's actually just going to lose right there. I definitely think he had the right idea with the sniper squad in the corner, but he just didn't have a way to stop the push from getting to his face.
Yeah, he probably needed to take the bridge, but with from mana frenzy, it's pretty much impossible to do.
And that'll bring it to 1-1. And now it's time for the tiebreaker that we've mentioned a time or two. We're going to be going over to that tiebreaker to secure a spot in the top 8, and it'll be Dirian versus Kishin. And it's going to be a best of 1, so it'll only be 1 game.
Well, will we see a red golem? That's my question for this match.
Oh man, that is a good question. It'd be really hyped to see Dirian get to play this red golem deck that he's so known for. We're just getting things set up now to get into this tiebreaker, Matt.
Right.
In just a moment while we get it set up.
Okay, there are 2 bans for each player.
They are private bans this time. I'm not sure it'll make a massive difference here. Or okay.
Oh, it was a mistake.
Yeah, that was a mistake. It's
public.
Public bans. I'm sure we'll see the red golem banned again, probably, but we can hope. You know, we can dream to see the red golem matchup.
Yeah.
I do think Kishin does have tools to deal with it, kind of. He has a couple okay answers for it, but
yeah, Dirian will probably ban the Setsu just because Setsu can, or the Setsu deck has the stun lancers and the curse bearer to stop the red golem, and also Setsu can finish the red golem deck if you don't fall too far behind in terms of HP. So yeah, that's kind of scary.
yeah. And Kishin bans the Mordar and the Rappo, so we won't be seeing the red golem again.
Yeah, I'm sad. I want to see a good red golem match.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It's been a while, but it's unfortunately not going to happen in this best of 1 tiebreaker.
Oh,
we also won't be seeing the Mordar list.
Yeah, and we don't see the middle win out of Kishin. So
Now,
Yeah, they pretty much banned the same master. Ah, no, wait.
I believe they were the same
Durian,
bands.
yeah, Durian doesn't have the Melloween, so
I believe they're the same bands from when they played earlier.
yeah.
And since it's a best of one, there's a bit more pressure on how this works out to pick the right master for the first match.
Yeah, you really want to like play a master that does well into both of the enemy masters.
Yeah. And we're gonna see Darian on the Volko and Kishin on the King Puff.
Good choice. Let's go crack some skulls.
It's kind of difficult for Durian to deal with the propeller hordes, but yeah, if he manages to deal with the flying units, he probably has like a good time against the King Puff. Or at least not the hardest time.
Yeah, and especially after King Puff gets that perk to the drone buzzers and the prop horde, if they come out shielded, it's gonna be even worse off for Darian. Because he'll have to expend even more resources to deal with them, and then he might not have what he needs for the next, you know, there's a lot there to worry about for him with the Volko.
Yeah, but the Volko is probably going to get like a lead just with his afterburner in terms of HP. At least that should be his target, but at the moment the King Puff is kind of ahead.
Yeah, this Scrat Tank's just kind of smacking at Darian, and Volko's autos are good for the smaller units with the AoE, but it takes a long time for him to deal with the Scrat Tank.
Yeah, so he's already down to 2200 HP. Yeah, Durian really needs to do something about that. If he doesn't like get some kind of lead, or like a good XP lead, which he's trying to get right now, he will have difficulties against the King Puff second perk.
Yeah, and it is definitely coming up. He doesn't actually get that fire ramp out before it gets an attack off, which is going to feel really bad for him. Going to take a bit of burn damage there.
But the Zhao Long is doing a good job at defending, so yeah,
And
he
it's-
doesn't take any much more damage.
And it is really even in XP still, and I think it's really going to come down to whether Kishin gets the shields on the prop horde and the drone buzzers consistently.
Yeah, those are like the power cards against the Volko, so you really want to look out for them. Oh, Daggerfall, but only hits one of them. But still,
Yeah.
the Plasma Marine. Oh, okay.
Plasma Marine's
Plasma
out,
Marine
so
is
one
not
buzzer's
enough.
still alive.
Oh, Shockrock just for one buzzer.
Yeah,
Dang.
he shock rocks for the buzzer, but he's still down one bridge, and now there's a shielded prop horde coming towards his face, and
That's
he doesn't
pretty
have the
much a
shock rock
nightmare.
or the dagger fall.
But he has the Plasma Marines and the Zhao Long. So yeah, he's not taking too much damage. Those were like only 2 or 3 hits for the Propeller Horde, which is decent.
Managed pretty well there, and the next set of buzzers have shields.
Yeah, Durian is like pretty even. He has more XP, but he's slightly lower on HP, so he's really pushing forward to his third perk just to like match the strengths of the empowered King Puff units.
He's being smart here and saving his spells that he needs.
Yeah, and he seems to be prepared for the Propeller Horde really well. Like the last time he played it shielded, he had an answer for it, and now he had an even easier time to deal with it with the Plasma Marines.
Yeah, he's definitely managing very well, and that's a really good burn the bridges coming out from Darian there. That's a very good play, and he's
Yeah,
up
it's really
in
effective.
XP. he's about 15 XP up, roughly.
Yeah, and
He's
he
going with
also
that bridge.
managed to get ahead in HP, so that's really good for him. Because now when he reaches his third perk, he will definitely be able to push harder and yeah, control the bridges more often. Although that dagger fall went wide, that was not where he wanted to aim it, I think.
Yeah, bit of a misplay there. Burn the bridges just to deal with the spear throwers, and these drone buzzers come through, but they go down quickly to the.
Yeah, Union is really handling those flying units well.
Red is starting to feel the heat.
And is slowly burning Kishin low.
Now, he does have the answers in hand for this shielded prop horde, fortunately. And this game is definitely coming down to the wire. More shielded drone buzzers come out. But again,
yeah, the drone buzzers, they are hitting the face, but you can answer them.
He's keeping the answers in hand. You know, he's playing very smart around these flying units.
Yeah, and he is playing with this lead like right now. But he didn't quite manage to deal damage just because he has no control over the Kingcraft bridge.
Yeah. And there's about a 10 XP difference, but
yeah, but it's enough. Once the Volko reaches Mana Frenzy, he can go for the bridges and spam it. It's nothing you can stop. And then Rage Cleaver is going to hurt the Square Tank a lot. Kishin really has trouble answering his enraged units.
yeah, it's really starting to help out. And he isn't taking damage right here because he has the bridge, but
And Zhao Long is
takes the
also
bridge.
taking. Yeah, Kishin is really low.
Yeah, Kishin is dangerously low, and Furion does have the
He
face
needs
damage.
his bridge. He needs his bridge, and he cannot afford to leave that bridge. Like, Adirian will finish it with the dagger.
Yeah, he plays the Swarmers to take the
That's
bridge
what
and
I
then
was
just
going to
daggers
say.
face.
Yeah. Ah. Well played by Dirian. He played really well around his weaknesses, and was clever about the prop board, and yeah.
Yeah, and that's really what it takes for the Volko to be a really good, consistent Volko player. You need to take over and save your answers. It's really important that you don't just blow cards freely, you know, like all it would take to change the pace of that game entirely is 1 or 2 times of Dirian just playing out his anti-air cards at the wrong time. But he managed to play them really smart and keep himself there. Like, he dealt with the shielded buzzers and the prop hordes incredibly well, which is very difficult. And now we can take a quick look at the players that have been eliminated so far today.
Yeah.
And
We see Xinyu, Andy, Tomato, and the loser of the tiebreaker, Hazard Bomber, and Grey Wolf. So
yeah, it's a lot of newer players who got eliminated. Like, you know, people that came in around the Discord launch, I believe, and Grey Wolf out.
and Xinyu.
And Xinyu,
So,
yeah.
Like, I wouldn't generalize that.
Yeah. A lot of good players out, and that's just how good the competition is, you know, today, and how many of these players are really strong. You know, to see these names knocked out shows how well people are playing today.
Yeah, but like I remember every single one of them playing like really well. Like, obviously they lost, but they like fought really well. Even though sometimes those matchups weren't favorite, but they always fought, and I really liked that.
Yeah. It's always really enjoyable to see that high quality gameplay and see people actually just coming out swinging. You know, you don't want to see somebody come out and have a really bad day and underperform, or come out and kind of just give up when things start to get rough. You know?
Or be like super nervous during the match. I mean, I experienced that as well. Like when you play it, there's a lot of pressure on you, and you like need to decide which masters do I ban and which deck do I play first. And even then, when you're in the match, you're so nervous. It's incredible.
Yeah. And I think that's part of where the experience a lot of these players have that have gone through. Players like Cat and Mephisto, you know, who have been around the scene for a long time and they've played in these competitive environments. They're not as likely to have any of those jitters, you know, like they might get them sometimes still, but they know what they're doing and they can feel confident because they have that tournament experience. You know, they've been playing in the tournaments for a long time.
Yeah. I guess playing a long time in the tournament scene gives you a slight edge over like the newer players, obviously. Besides the fact that newer players have probably less game time, so less in-game knowledge, but yeah, it's also knowing what to play in the tournament.
Yeah. So, just going to be here for a moment while Group A finishes their sets, and then I believe we're going to be watching Stage 3 of Group A. So, are you surprised to see any of the players who are eliminated so far? Did you expect any of them to go further than they did?
I don't think so. Like, I wouldn't say like I expected them to lose. Like, definitely not. But at this, like, I'm not surprised because I feel like the tournament can go either way. Like, sometimes you have like a really good day and you just destroy everyone, and sometimes you just like don't get the matchups you want to get, and your deck is not working the way you intended it to work, and yeah, that's just the way it is, and you lose, and it doesn't feel good, but that's just the way it is. And when everyone is really good, yeah, like small differences, yeah, changed the matches. So
yeah, it doesn't take that many little misplays to knock somebody out. So yeah, I'd agree. I don't think it's really crazy to see any of the players that are knocked out. Not that it's expected, but it definitely could have gone any which way.
I mean, if I had seen Cut here, I would be like kind of surprised. Of course, yeah. I always expect Cut to be like in the top 8, if not in the finals.
Yeah.
Yes, because of his history, like, yeah, he always performed really well in the last tournaments. I didn't really expect him to be there.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect Kat to go out early either. I'm also not super surprised to see that, you know, a player like Mem went through, Mephisto, who has also shown his consistency.
Yeah, Mephisto is also known to be like a really experienced and good player.
Yeah.
I mean, his name is already yellow, so... He won a tournament before, so I guess he will... Well, he can maybe make it again.
Yeah. He's definitely able to. I mean, he's already shown he can do it more than once, right? So...
Yeah. Doesn't the name change then as well? Like, it's no longer yellow, but orange or something?
I believe the stream is actually... should be spectating Cat currently, while he finishes his game from this set.
Then let's see. Well,
And it looks like Cat's actually having a bit of a hard time this match.
just when we talked about him, that he does so well in the tournament.
You know, caster curse is a real thing.
Yeah, I guess we rigged it. So unlucky for him.
Rigged. And with that, Pat lost. After we're going to be moving into Gandalf versus Lazar for what should be our final match of the group stage.
Right.
There is a possibility of a tiebreaker. And we'll be just a moment while we get things set up for the next match. And me and Echo will be getting the deck lists up in just a moment. You can see them on screen. We did see both of these players play earlier already, and they've both been doing really well today.
Yeah, I really liked Lazur's deck, where he beat Flo. Let's see which are the bans for them, but maybe we will see the Tetsu deck with the Azali, which you found interesting.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Azali. So I think it'll be I honestly I just think it's fun to see decks that are slightly different than the normal, you know? It's cool to see these decks that are a bit different. Or the Mordar with Bara, for instance, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the Azali Blood Imps and the Bats. That's a really nasty combo. It's so cheesy and but yeah.
Man, it is very frustrating to play against, I agree.
Yeah, that's like one of the solo ladder decks which I really don't like with Azali.
Yeah. And we are getting bans, and Gandalf has banned the Apep and the Mordar from Lazar. So we won't be seeing the Bara. And we also won't be seeing that Apep with the powered Soul Stealer.
But we will see the Azali, so.
Yeah, we might get a look at that Azali pick.
And also the Annihilator in that deck. I mean, it makes sense to like play it with Azali, where you get shields for it to protect it from fireballs. But yeah, Annihilator is kind of an odd card to play.
Yeah, not a very common card. And on the other hand, so far we have King Puff banned from Lazar. He's banning that away from Gandalf. And he'll be getting his second ban in just a moment.
Yeah, he's probably thinking about whether he wants to face like the Harbingers or the Soul Stealer.
Yeah. And he's opted to ban the Mordar for his second ban.
I mean, I don't want to face a Mordar, so I guess tournament participants don't want to face a Mordar either.
I definitely respect that. Mordar is a few reses away from just snowballing the game at any time.
Yeah. And in some decks you don't even have like a counterplay. It's really annoying to play against the Mordar that just gets his reses and you don't even have the chance to deny him.
Mm-hmm. Be interesting to see what they decide to start with here, and if we actually do get to see the Azali or not.
I mean, in the first match, maybe not, but maybe there's a second one where we get to see it. I don't know. It feels kind of like a counter pick, to like a Mordor deck or something. But I mean, Mordor's banned, so I
Yeah.
don't know. It's probably also doing really well into the Stormbringer. Like Setsu into Stormbringer is kind of a favorite matchup for the Setsu if you manage to like keep the pressure up in the early mid game.
Mm-hmm. And the Setsu jump's a good tool against that crossbow guild.
Yeah, definitely. And also the infiltration.
And before we get into this game, it is worth noting there's a really good chance that we're going to have a tiebreaker after this. Which means you might get to see a little bit more of group stage before we actually pass off to top 8.
Yeah. More interesting decks that we can watch.
Yeah. Get to see more cool things, and it's actually going to be the Setsu for the opener for Lazar here, which is really exciting. You know, again, it's something a little bit different.
Yeah, but it runs into the APIP, so
yeah, probably not the favored matchup.
Yeah, but I don't know. I trust into the power of Azali.
You believe in the Azali?
Yeah, I think he thought something when he like played that deck. So. Similar to the Dragon Pack, like I don't think those players play cards without like really thinking about it. And he gets a massive shield on all the Scrats and the Glass Marines.
Yeah.
But that Reboomer, that will clear some of the shields. And it also damaged the Azali pretty badly.
Yeah, Azali goes down, and this Xiaolong that's enraged Zhao is just going to make it to face and get a couple hits off before Setsu actually had to reload, so it's getting even more damage out.
Yeah, but it's really a bad spot to be in for Lizur, because he just like completely missed his first push, and now the APIP is on his way to get the shield totem and is even dealing more damage to your face than you are dealing to him, so
yeah,
that's definitely not where you want to be. Like,
yeah, you want to be the aggressor here as this Setsu. You don't want to be on the back foot against the APEP.
Yeah, I kind of have like a rules when I play against an APEP. I want to be like, or want to have him at like 1k HP. If he is like above that, the match is probably lost, because I'm very likely not having the answers for his value spam, and yeah, then he has a shield totem and I cannot simply finish matches. But that push was really good from the Blues, so
yeah, that really helped him get back.
And they are even in XP, so it's not the biggest swing, but I guess the third perk will change things.
Oh, and unfortunately for Lazar there, he doesn't actually get any damage out of that Annihilator after the Black Hole, because it caught the aggro of the Soul Stealer. And this Soul Stealer is protected by this Guardian right now, and he doesn't have the Stun Lancer, so he's going to take a lot of damage before he can clear
that push is scary. It might even end the game, I think. Look at the damage!
It's still coming out, and he's so low now. He's only at 340 health, and
that is beam range.
Yeah. He is definitely not where he wanted to be with this Setsu. And Gandalf
played them right into the Reboomer.
Yeah. That's really unfortunate for him.
It's
and there's
really
actually a Zeppelin bomber on his face, and it gets a pop off, and this Scrat is still hitting him. He's down to 30 health, and he has a Dragon Ball from death, and
not even a Dragon Ball, a Shock Rock.
A Shock Rock,
like
anything, yeah. I got APEP list confused for a minute there. Gandalf does not have the Dragon Ball, but
yeah, and this
he's at 30 HP. And there's the Guardian.
The Guardian and the Living Statue, but the statue is just going to hit phase.
Yeah, and
Azali
can't finish it, and that's going to be it. He just watched his own death march at him slowly there, and he didn't have a way to stop it.
Yeah, he had like a screaming spread, but even if he played that, he had no chance of like winning the match anyways. So I assume he just gave up at that point.
Yeah, I feel like he knew it was over. And that didn't quite work out for him there. He actually was on the back foot for a lot of that match, and he just couldn't really get the advantage he needed to try to push face damage.
Yeah, he only got like one good push in, but he like got completely wrecked by the counter push and was so low that he had no chance to make a comeback happen. But yeah, once you like start losing against an APEP, you need to do something. So you even lose harder or you start winning. But like starting to win is pretty unlikely, but if you don't do anything, you are going to lose.
Yeah.
So it's better to do something than just watch yourself dying. So
Let's fight.
Yeah, you kind of end up in a spot where you need to take a high risk, high reward play and have it work out, or else it's just not going to happen. And he's on the King Puff now. Now it's a really standard King Puff list. There's not a lot of variation in King Puffs. It is the sniper squad with the Bannerman list. I don't know. How do you think it matches up into the APEP? Do you think it matches well against the Soul Stealer Guardian APEP, or do you think he'll struggle?
It can handle it. Like you got the bridge swap to like swap the Guardian away. You got the Scrat Tank to tank the Empowered Suit Stealer hits. But yeah, you really need to be clever about that Empowered Suit Stealer, because it can like kill you if you don't have an answer for it. Because the King Puff will not attack it.
Yeah, the slow attacks.
That black hole is really clever, because now it will just blow up the fire before it will kill the reboomer. So pretty smart play there. Gandalf seems to be on the back foot in this match right now.
Yeah, King Puff doesn't even have that perk 2, and he's already got a solid XP lead going, and he's really just going to capitalize on that when he hits that perk 2. He's a solid 20 XP ahead, and on top of that, he's also done a lot of damage. He's still pushing face damage even.
Yeah, that's scary. Like, but yeah, once the APEP reaches his second perk, the face damage won't matter that much anymore. But the XP lead is like probably the deciding factor. And
Now,
those black holes are on point. I really like them.
Yeah, I was gonna say the black holes have been really good. Now, even though he is at the point where he's fallen fairly behind,
Yeah,
he
but
does...
look at the Suit Stealer.
I would say
There is
Lazar
so
does
much
have to be
difference.
really careful, because this empowered Soul Stealer can honestly just win the game by itself if it goes unanswered.
Yeah, and he messed it up. He should have waited for snipers, and he didn't. And now he's taking so much damage.
He still doesn't have an answer out.
The
It's
match. Like-
still pushing.
Yeah, it's turning the match. Like, they are even in terms of HP right now. And that's definitely not what you want
Blue just got
to
the
happen.
second perk.
Especially after you're off to such a strong lead like that early. He's honestly one push away from losing now if Gandalf can just get one solid push off with that Soul Stealer.
Yeah, not dealing with that effectively was like the changing factor.
And that's just it goes to show that Soul Stealer is one of those cards where it punishes those mistakes so hard.
Yeah, and on King Puff it's even harder just because you don't have the range to let your master attack the Suit Stealer. So you often end up not having mana for the card, and because you run those 4 and 5 mana drops, you just don't have a ranged unit for it.
And I think Lazar's in a lot of danger right now. There's another Soul Stealer coming across with the Guardian, and I don't know that he has the answers to deal with it quick enough before he can.
He can swap. He can swap, and he has,
The swap for the Guardian, yeah.
yeah. And
Really
he also has
smart
the
swap.
Squad, so now he's aware of the problem with the Soul Stealer, so he's a little bit more cautious, but yeah, it's pretty close. Gandalf got up in XP, so He's not
Yeah.
that far away from his third perk, which will also help him a lot.
Yeah, and he is taking damage right now. He's under
Yeah,
pressure.
the snipers are dealing damage. 200 so far, but the totem saves him for now.
The totem comes out, but he doesn't have something out to deal with the snipers yet. One's still
Another
alive.
hit.
He's at 300 health,
Wow,
200 health,
snipers
and
did 400 damage there.
the snipers did so much for him there.
Yeah.
But there's another pack in the top side that he's gonna have to deal with now too soon.
Yeah, I think Lazur is now aware of the fact that he cannot let those Soulsteers through, and beside that, he is completely fine in this matchup. Like, he didn't have any trouble against Gandalf's deck, so yeah. If he plays it down safely, he will probably win this game. He needs to be careful now. That push looked kind of scary.
Yeah, and Gandalf is dangerously low right now. Still, he does have the totem, but he is.
And he has his third perk, so
Mhm.
that's also helping him, probably.
Yeah.
But he needs to stop this push.
And this Scrat tank is making it to his face almost, and there the Soul
Oh, no.
Stealer is really helping to clear this up.
Yeah, the Soulstealer can just sit in the back and generate tons of value.
He is
Maybe it
5
will win
Blast
him the
Lancer
match.
procs away though.
Yeah. Oh, and the Soulstealer goes down. Ah, I think Soulstealer is kind of the key to still win this match, but yeah, it's so hard against the snipers, and yeah, just
Yeah.
the constant pressure from the King Puff and Rage units.
Yeah, it's really.
And he needed to play the Guardian just to protect his face right there. So
Mhm. And again, he's stuck in another spot where he has to answer a push, and he's so low at this point.
yeah, and that's
And he
really a
can-
problem. If you're so low, you cannot afford to take damage, so you need to take less efficient trades, and that makes you end up in a worse spot.
And he played the totem there to catch the aggro, and the Blastmancer did another 20 damage. And at this point, Lazar has the Mana Frenzy, and Gandalf is 40 XP away, which sometimes you can catch up, but at 40 XP away, that's very unlikely. And this Flightless Dragon makes it to his face and
Yeah,
finishes him off.
wow. Yeah, Lazur just had to play it safely in the end, and yeah, he managed to not get caught off guard by the Soulstealer in like only one time, but after that he was aware, and yeah, he could play it down safely.
And we're going to be switching over to Florian and Cat now, and it's actually a really important matchup. If Cat loses, he might actually be out.
I mean, same goes for Florian. Am I right?
I believe
I
so,
think
yeah.
so,
It's
so.
it's definitely a tense moment, and you know, we were talking about it a little bit ago, and it's one of those situations where you wouldn't expect Cat to go out in groups.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes it's just the matchups, or I don't know, like you don't get to play the right players, and yeah, you end
Yeah,
up in a tiebreaker. But Cat seems to be like slightly ahead as always in terms of XP and HP, and yeah, I'm not that surprised to see him in that spot.
yeah. Kind of where we expect Cat to be at this point.
Yeah, and the propeller scrats are not like that big of an issue for Cat to deal with. So I guess that's Florian's issue. He cannot really out-trade Cat and like do anything with his propeller out. Oh, nice assassin value. But the problem with the assassin is that once you play it and you play it into like King Puff units, the King Puff will have shields on his units, and the assassin, yeah, will waste his first attack, which is his strongest attack. So it's not the best card in the matchup.
Yeah, it really loses the most important, kind of the most important part of playing it is that first hit damage, and you really struggle to find that against the shields from the King Puff perk. And
yeah, but Florian is kind of even in terms of HP, so yeah, I believe in him. I think he can still make something happen. It's not over yet.
It's definitely not over yet.
Like, everything can happen, but I think the experience from Cut in like such situations will play a big role.
Yeah. And spear throwers come out to deal with those drone buzzers. They're going to be answered by this flame imp though.
And the Scrat Tank will effectively deal with the ranged minions.
And the assassin goes down to the flame imp on the top side.
Kat is climbing up in his XP advantage, slowly but steadily. Like, now
And he
it's
had the-
20 XP, and he is already also pushing for the face damage, so
Yeah. And Florian's down to 800 health, which if he manages to keep hold of the bridge, he can definitely stay in it for a while, but he is
he
taking
doesn't
more
have
damage
it.
now. He's struggling to hold the bridge.
Oh, the score right now is 1-0 for Cat, so if Cat wins this match, he is safe. And if Florian wins, we will see a third match, so well, let's hope that Florian can make the comeback happen. Although it's not looking too good for him.
Yeah. The Blastmancer is a really, really good card from Cat for this matchup. I think it's really quick to deal with the Propeller Horde, and a lot of the units from King Puff tend to be those multi-units. You know, you get a lot of group units, and the Blastmancer is really useful at dealing with them.
Yeah, and it's also removing all the shields. Like from other units, like.
And there's Mana Frenzy, and he's at 51 HP, and the Drone Buzzer hits him to finish it, and Cat takes it 2-0.
As expected. Well, kind of.
And with that, I believe we are at the end of our group stages.
So we can add Florian to our list of newbies that didn't make it onto the next round.
Yeah, he didn't quite make it through. He did play really well today, though, and it was really nice to see a lot of these new faces come out.
Yeah, definitely. And we did see some interesting decks. I was kind of most surprised by the Dragon Pack deck, which worked really well. Like, when I thought about it, like, the first time I didn't took into consideration that the totem helps it so much, but damn, that's probably my favorite strategy, which I really need to try out.
Yeah, it looks really fun to play, you know, and definitely unique. So we have our top 8 after the group stages. We have the top 8 now. And from Group A, we have Cat and Lazar. From Group B, we have Westlin and Croaker.
And Group C is Video Gamer Dirian. And Group D is Mephisto against JF.
So a lot of these veteran players, again, just coming out and still managing to hit that top 8, you know?
Yeah, now it's about who is the best. And yeah, maybe we see Mephisto winning again, and getting an even more yellow name. Who knows?
Honestly, they're gonna run out of shades of yellow for him if he wins. Maybe we'll see Cat take it, or maybe we'll see someone else take it. You never know. It could really go any way, and there's a lot of good players, and it'll be fun to see how it breaks out. With that, we're gonna head to a 5-minute break, and then we'll be getting into the top 8. So that's it for me. It was a pleasure casting with you, Eke. It was nice to cast for everyone, and I hope you all have a beautiful day.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to cast for the first time. In such a big tournament, at least. So, yeah, see you.